Peace, 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 peace. Peace, love, light to all American Aborigines. It's your brother, Aboriginal Power. Hopefully, everybody's having a beautiful day. Having a great grand rising. Let's get straight into the audio.
Stack that bitch up, Mike.
Yeah, truth can't be told, it gotta be realized. Yeah, man. Truth can't be told, it gotta be realized. Freedom ain't legalized. Truth can't be told, it gotta be realized. Freedom ain't free, it ain't realized. Freedom ain't free, it ain't realized. Freedom ain't legalized. Realize. Freedom ain't free, it ain't legalized. Realize. Freedom ain't free, it ain't legalized. Realize. Yeah. Slavery was a long time ago. How? Same motherfuckers still here right now. Colonized on our own land, they ahead of us. Changed our name so much they scared of us. Children of the sun, y'all don't compare to us. Pale-faced people, this ain't y'all area. Talking about America, pale-faced people, this ain't y'all area. Even if the playing field, bitch, I'm darn. How you a victim, bitch, you a Karen. Cognitive dissonance, you don't need sperm. You got white privilege, so you don't need sperm. Looking at my homeland, man, I can't believe her. Colonized came here, they ain't never leave her. Indians ain't die off cause we here. You ain't gotta lie, just say you won't be here. How you American but not indigenous? 400 years still ain't get rid of us. All Europeans, naturalized citizens, made all the Indians niggas on the census. 1492, we was on the fences. Civil rights movement, we was so defensive. Black Wall Street, whites got so offended. Common law rights, gave us amendments. Thank God don't speak truth, that's alright. First slave 1619 was all white. 1200 wasn't no continent, all white. Europe named after a black woman, alright. Grafted, it come from us, do your research. Go within, quit listening to teachers. And the Nuki got voice coming out the speaker. Cut our trees down and made us weaker. Really they foreigner, the shit gets deeper. Whites don't know where whites come from either. I'm Aboriginal, we come from the ether. Ruling over us in our land, that's evil. Being colonized right now, black people. Prisoner of the war, that's why it ain't equal. Wake up everybody, don't be no sheeple. Freedom ain't free, really freedom is illegal. And we can't get mad at this. Whites act like we can't see their advantages. Privileges real, they working in management. Low down dirty, but they calling us savage. They want you to think they above us. All white people are part-time judges. I ain't no racist, but I ain't no sucker. I ain't no African, but they my brothers. Been lied to, I got built up anger. You built everything, still waiting on the savior. Don't call yourself black, please do me that favor. Black tourmaline will protect you from a hater. Listening to your oppressors is dangerous. Gave us a Bible and stole our nation. Said we couldn't read, but we didn't know the language. Kept us on paper because we didn't see the danger. American Indian, keep the religion. Skin copper color look just like a penny. Wanted our land and you called us stingy. Ain't no Democrats there together, pay attention. We got ancestors, but the papers is missing. Kings and queens, which you can't remember. Remember who you are, just like Simba. Now they got a back, we don't want that in us. George Washington is the ninth president, look it up. United States, only 10 square blocks, look it up. White people really the minorities, look it up. Courtrooms don't got authorities, look it up. You want me, say stop governing me. Gave me a straw man, it's really not me. Why you don't keep it 100 with me? Why Trayvon Killer still walk around free? Made this song for the truth, don't hate it. History was told in reverse, I've stated. Streets still oppressed, somebody gotta say it. I'm taking out of school, that's the reason I made it. History is his story. History is his story. History is his story. History is his story. That ain't my story. History is his story. It's his story. Probably ain't your story. History is his story. It's his story.
Yeah. They say they paper tripping, they ain't paper tripping. I ain't even got a social, bitch, I'm non-existent. I ain't never signed no contract with no corporate business. Niggas quick to say they free, but it ain't how they living. Public school was made to create public fools. A billion pictures of invaders trying to say they you. This Atlantis, this our planet, that's on I'm a rule. This ain't the book of old plays, it's that out of bull. They was never great, showing greatness and they get mad at you. Quick to holler slave, but in them days, bitch, they had masters too. 1655, Anthony Johnson took his slave to court. Black slave masters were majority till we went to war. Quick to holler out copper color, copper strap and blow. Fuck a copper, social distance beef and had the copper scope. Chained by Slovakia parliament, case you didn't know. You want the foreign leadership, check me if you don't believe this shit. I need paper, big paper, I need paper, big paper, secret papers, I'm escaping. How the fuck I wake up in a business, paper tripping, cause these papers tripping. Now I'm paper tripping, about that paper, big paper, honey paper, big paper, Secret papers, I'm escaping. How the fuck I wake up in the business, paper tripping, cause these papers tripping, now I'm paper tripping, I made a point not to speak on the vaccinations. Social media bringing in medical segregation. My body, my choice when abortion's a mission statement. Guess your body has no choice when you wait for the population. Gain of function research administered through the teachers. Fauci's turning Jesus, they trapping it through the preachers. Got every family beefing, can't even cough in their region. Controversy bringing leeches enough to break down your defense. Force your pledge allegiance to a corporation. Power ain't for show, depends on your participation. Probably ain't gonna go for broke, they scary with no pawns to play with. Dip hoes on the creeping like they disappear soon as the day is. Randy Vaughn took them on, now her soul long gone, rest in peace. I'm quiet for that shit happened to me. Randy Vaughn took them on, now her soul long gone, rest in peace. I'm quiet for that shit happened to me. I need paper, big paper, big paper, I need paper, big paper, secret papers, I'm escaping. How the fuck I wake up in the business, paper tripping, cause these papers tripping, now I'm paper tripping about the paper. Big paper, honey paper, big paper, secret papers, I'm escaping. How the fuck I wake up in the business, paper tripping, cause these papers tripping, now I'm paper tripping up.
Let's get it, y'all. Y'all can hear me loud and clear. Drop some fire emojis in the chat. Let's move on to the next Jammy Jam. If y'all can hear me loud and clear, drop some fire emojis. Grand rising to everybody. Let's go.
Hey, I'm sliding on the VA, bitch, over
Cody Metro. Chris 3000. Yeah. Damn man.
I know my people ain't fight for this.
Martin was fighting for civil rights, but we ain't got human rights. I ain't tryna hear no fall in line, cause you ain't gonna do me right. Martin was fighting for civil rights, but we ain't got human rights. I ain't tryna hear no fall in line, cause you ain't gonna do me right. We know who we are. 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 Choctaw, Cherokee, we know who we are. Seminole, Muskogee Creek, we know who we are. Scalping season, caught us lacking. We done figured out what's happening there. You mad, we like what's happening with you. Matter of fact, take that vax and them taxes with you. All these classes with you and this fake social status with you. I already know some of you people like let it go. Letting it go, I ain't letting it go, unless I'm letting it go. We got it the worst here, somebody we was here before. Act like y'all don't know. My grandmama don't know nothing about no boat. Everything these people told you a lie. Some can't see it. I'm wondering why they build you, enslave you, and take up your time. Most of the time they be all in your mind. Loud all the time, so a lot of us blind. We waking up daily. It's almost the time. We know we divine, but why would you try? Y'all ain't superior. Why is you lying? I don't need you cause I ain't needy. I don't trust you cause you break treaties. Give you an inch, you get too greedy. Pyramids here don't need no TP. Some speak Southern, some speak Geechee. American blacks, indigenous need G. Thread my life, I still speak free. When they say something in the water, I see what they meant.
I do.
Y'all remember how they did need G in Flint?
That's true.
Everybody know the Trail of Tears was through the South.
Right.
Historically, blacks been in the South, so what they talking about? We ain't from Africa, I ain't not supporting you. If you been to jail, why they not deporting you? Y'all act like the key to warfare ain't deception. Some of y'all act like y'all just want to be accepted. I don't know if it's just me, but I don't respect it. I don't know if it's just me, but I don't respect it. What about them dozens of treaties neglected? And if they ain't neglected, we ain't get the message. I'm about to forget everything you think you know. We talking about one of the greatest lies ever told. Now we finding our tribes and anything jump off, we side by side. Our ancestors to be proud, they quarantined us, we outside. Martin was fighting for civil rights, but we ain't got human rights. I ain't trying to hear no fall in line, cause you ain't gonna do me right. Martin was fighting for civil rights, but we ain't got human rights. I ain't trying to hear no fall in line, cause you ain't gonna do me right. We know who we are. 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 Choctaw, Cherokee, we know who we are. Seminole, Muskogee Creek, we know who we are. Martin was fighting for civil rights, but we ain't got human rights. Martin was fighting for civil rights, but we ain't got human rights. Martin was fighting for civil rights, but we ain't got human rights. Martin was fighting for civil rights, but we ain't got human rights.
Martin was fighting for civil rights, but we ain't got human rights. Martin was fighting for civil rights, but we ain't got human rights. Martin was fighting for civil rights, but we ain't got human rights. Martin was fighting for civil rights, but we ain't got human rights.
Peace, 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 peace. Peace and love to everybody in the chat. I want to say peace and blessings. First things first, can we get these likes up? We got 41 people in the building. Can we get these likes up in the building? Peace and blessings to everybody that's tapping in. It's your brother Aboriginal Power. This is Wake and Bake Bill. We're going to do a throwback Thursday bill for you guys. So we're gonna get into a bill. Maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't, but it's definitely a throwback. All right, so I would like for you guys to hit the like button. I will be doing an open panel shortly, so just bear with me. Hit the like button.
Oh, what the fuck you guys were talking about?
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
Let me know if we got an echo in here too. If we got an echo, let me know. Is the sound and visuals good? Drop some fire emojis in the chat to let me know before we even get started. Is there an audio or echo?
There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you should blew my mind.
Are you ready to get your mind blown?
At Grubhub, they take care of it. You know what?
Excited about.
All right, so let's get it. We got Bishop Larry Gathers talking about the Black Mamba situation, or Kobe Bryant, or the Kobe Bryant curse, or chaos ritual. Let's go in.
That you can catch us, and do follow me on social media, both on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook is go to facebook.com /Bishop L Gators. That's GAITERS. Again, that's facebook.com /Bishop L Gators.
We already got one hater in the building, so we got one thumbs down. I appreciate that. At least you let me know that y'all in here. So for the real ones, hit the like button. If you want to hit the thumbs down button, be my guest. But thumb up the video as y'all come in. I appreciate that. It only costs $3.99. That's how much it costs.
A lot of your listeners and followers are following me on Facebook on that outlet. Also on Twitter, just go to @Bishop L Gators. Again, @Bishop L Gators. So we're excited tonight to go into really part 2 of what we started last month.
Yeah. Before we get into that,
Before we get into it, let's skip it up. But
the Blue Seeker Society, the blacklisters and betrayers of history. And mind
before we had this thing, but then we just saw something happen with Snoop Dogg, and
y'all gonna have to get these likes up, y'all. Let's get these likes up. Drop some fire emojis in the chat if y'all can hear me loud and clear. I just want to make sure we good.
Oprah and Gail and Jada Pinkett, where they shamed walked that dude. We've had stuff about, was LeBron James at the memorial? There's some shady, have you seen the pictures where they say LeBron? You got better. They're like Bigfoot pictures. You're like, who is that? Bigfoot? Is that LeBron? Is he at this memorial? Why won't he come out and say it? So, I'm gonna be quiet because they love when I don't talk on the show. So I want to know. What are your thoughts on everything?
We actually do love when you don't say nothing. That's an actual correct statement. We'd rather you shut the fuck up and let the brother get to the bill.
Larry, I can't think of a better guest to have on to discuss the last week and just everything. Boule, brother, talk to me.
all of this is interconnected with the coronavirus. It's going to blow your mind tonight. So then the Blue Seeker Society, the blacklisters and betrayers of history. And mind you, the acronym for the coronavirus is COVID, capital COVID, which is interpreted from Hebrew to English as the word Kobe. I kid you not. So I am going to come back to that in a few moments. Here. So then,
I don't know if y'all just heard it. He already just dropped a jewel real quick. I want y'all to pay attention to what he just said. Listen, let's go.
Everything Boule, brother. Talk to me.
All of this is interconnected with the coronavirus. It's going to blow your mind tonight. So then the Blue Seeker Society, the blacklisters and betrayers of history. And mind you, the acronym for the coronavirus is COVID, capital COVID, which is interpreted from Hebrew to English as the word COVID. I kid you not. So I am going to come back to that in a few moments. Yeah. So then, as we talk about the history of the Boule Secret Society, they are the blacklisters, Brother Sam, and the betrayers of history. It goes all the way back to the city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the hometown of Kobe Bean Bryant. All right. Now, in May 15th, 1904, if you add the number 5 for the month of May, okay, and add all of the other numbers together, you get the number 33. And why is that so important? There are 33 degrees within the Masonic order for Black America and for the Black diaspora. Now, no Black person can become a 33rd and 1/2 degree. So this Boule Secret Society was born in the city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, May 15th, 1904, the 5th month of May, okay? And you add all the numbers individually together, you get the number 33. That was the number of Kobe Bryant's high school jersey. I'll come back to that later on. Nothing's by accident. So the Boule Secret Society was created in 1904 by 9 African-American men, okay? Because they wanted to counter Yale University Skulls and Bones, because Black people were prohibited of being a part of any secret society, specifically the Skulls and Bones. And I'm going to reveal to you later on in the program, Sam, that the original Skulls and Bones goes back to Greek mythology of a half a man, a half a woman with his left paw on a skull, which now has been translated to 1904 to the present day Boule Secret Society logo, which is a half a man, half a woman, half a lion with this right paw on what we call an urn, right? Capital U-R-N, which they keep ashes of dead people. So when you connect the words urn to skull or skull to urn online, it will reveal different symbols and instruments where people are carrying around the ashes of their dead loved ones, even to the point that they can actually sniff, like cocaine, the ashes of their dead loved ones. It's horrific. And so as we break down schematically who and what the Boules are, they were created by 9 distinct African Americans, beginning with Dr. Henry McKee Minton in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And these 9 Black Greek letter secret societies, men, created what we call the Divine Nine, the Pan-Hellenic Council of 9 Greek Black letter secret societies today. And we're talking about Alpha Phi Alpha and Alpha Kappa Alpha and Kappa Alpha Psi and Omega Psi Phi and Delta Sigma Theta and Phi Beta Sigma, Zeta Phi Beta, Sigma Gamma Rho, and Iota Phi Theta, all under the umbrella of the Boule Secret Society. Now, why did these 9 men, beginning with Dr. Henry McKee Minton, wanted to create a Black Skulls and Bones? They were started with Rockefeller money through the Rockefeller Foundation right here in New York City, along with his wife, Laura Spelman Rockefeller. Now, notice there is a Black female college in Atlanta, Spelman College, named after not a Black woman, but a white woman. And again, I'm not teaching black and white. I'm just revealing the truth. So then, through Rockefeller money, okay, millions of dollars were given to Dr. Henry McKee Minton and to 8 other Black men, Dr. Algernon Jackson, Dr. Eugene T. Henson, Dr. Edwin C. Howard, Dr. Robert J. Abele, Dr. Richard Warwick, Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois, who is a sellout, was the one in 1929 who opened the door for Margaret Sanger to begin through the system of eugenics to abort black children. I'll come back to that later. Julian Abilene, the younger brother of Robert Abilene, Julian Abilene was the eighth Boule Scholzman. He was an architect who built the present day Duke University.
Oh, Johnny Boulet's, Duke and Boulet's.
That's it. And then Dr. John Taylor gave birth to what we call the black diaspora of the sports and entertainment complex. Okay. So these 9 black Boulets gave birth to the Divine Nine of the Pan-Hellenic Black Secret Society. Now, why 9? Now, remember the Knights of the Round Table. Yeah. Now, there is a book that came out in 1993 called The History of Sigma Pi Phi, written by Dr. Charles H. Wesley. He declared on page 146, Sam, that the 9 Illuminati families out of the 13 that control 99% of the world's wealth. So the Divine Nine of the Black Hellenic Greek letter secret societies created by the Boulets in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, May 15th, 1904. And mind you, that year is a leap year in 1904. So then that year has 136 days, okay? Now, when you take the word Boule, it means they are the advisors to the king, which means they don't own the system. They are the guardians of the system. They don't own the crab barrel, okay? The crab barrel system is where the black diaspora is in, and not just black people. Any people whom the system deems to be a threat. And when I'm talking about the crab barrel, I'm not talking about white supremacy, okay? The supremacy I'm talking about, this Luciferian supremacy that is designed to choose 1 out of 10 African Americans to represent the system. Whether it's Kobe Bryant or LeBron James, who might have wore a black hoodie during the memorial. It might have been Denzel Washington, Will Smith. All of these actors and actresses, Wesley Snipes, all of these men and women in the sports and entertainment complex are chosen by the system to protect the system. So you had 9 black Greek letter secret societies who are assigned to protect each of the 9 knights of the Round Table. We're talking about the Rothschild dynasty, whose real name is the Bauer dynasty. We're talking about the Oppenheimers, the Warburgs, the Rockefellers, the John Jacob Astor dynasty. We're talking about the Bilderbergers, the Habsburg, the Sassoon family, the Sassoon dynasty. Now, remember the hairstylist, the late Vidal Sassoon. If you don't look good, we don't look good. He came out of that bloodline. The Sassoon dynasty was responsible for the global opium trade and for the Chinese Opium Wars from 1839 to 1860. And then the 9th knight on the Round Table is the Li dynasty in China, going back at least 15 to 2,000 years, which their main province today, get this, is the Wuhan dynasty.
There we go. This is what you came for.
Yes. You see? So I'm going to come back to that later on. Now, the 9 knights of the Round Table are designated a Black Boule Greek letter society to protect it. So as we are dissecting for your audience here tonight, the Boule Secret Society, the Black Listers and Betrayers of History. Now, when we go forward here, again,
I don't want to keep stopping this. I want y'all to be able to get what he got to say out, because it's a lot to interpret. I'll break it down whenever I can and add my commentary. But I'm gonna need you guys to share this on all your social media outlets. So 87 of my brothers and sisters in here can go make a post on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, or Facebook. Tag me in it. You feel me? And I will post it on my stories or on my page. But we're gonna need y'all to run them likes up right now. You feel me? That's what's gonna make all these other people mad about this information because they see the likes get ran up. So run these likes up and share it.
Again, May the 15th, 1904, May the 5th month, okay? So you begin to add all of these numbers up, it comes up to the number 33. Now, why is that so important?
God.
There are 33 degrees within the global Masonic order that's only designed for Black people. Black people are not allowed to go beyond the 33rd degree level. So May 15th, 1904. So then, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, there's 126 chapters, 5,000 members throughout our nation, the United States of America, throughout Great Britain and throughout the Caribbean. Now, if you would take 5,000 divided by 28 countries, that's 178 to 179 boules per country, which means they represent the 1% of the Black diaspora in that country. They are not elected. They are selected to be a part of the system. And when the system is done, you will be eliminated. They are the gatekeepers, okay? So then, as we come forth closer to LeBron James and Kobe Bryant, so then the boules are the protectors of the system. In other words, saying they are the caretakers of not the 99%. They are the caretakers of the 1%. They represent, going back to a Greek Hellenistical society, that the lower house of the Greek Parliament represents the boules, okay?
Yeah.
So the Boule Secret Society represents the foundation, which their task is to protect the powers that be above them. Barack Obama was not elected. Barack Obama was selected. And so this term boule comes from an acronym BOLU, capital B-O-L-U, which means Black Friday. I kid you not. Black Friday, which people celebrate today, going crazy, trying to get a stuffed animal, has its roots back in slavery in the 1600s.
Wow.
We're talking about where the slaves were sold the day after Thanksgiving at a discounted price.
No.
Shut up.
No way.
Really?
What?
They were sold the day after Thanksgiving through the penmanship of Willie Lynch, the father of buckbreaking. They were sold the day after Thanksgiving at a discounted price. And there was a man by the name of Moses Taylor, the creator of the present-day Citigroup Bank. He was the one in the 1700s that began the layaway program.
Hold on.
I kid you not.
So you're telling me Black Friday is basically Groupon for slaves? You get a discount on that?
Absolutely. You can buy a slave at a discounted price the day after Thanksgiving. Even the layaway plan started of Moses Taylor, the father of the Citigroup Bank, the present-day Citigroup. He would give other slave owners the opportunity to pay down on a slave, a future boule, okay? And then they had 90 days to pay Moses Taylor that the balance of what that slave was worth. Nothing has changed.
Wow.
Man, I don't know if y'all can hear it loud and clear. But if y'all can, please drop some fire emojis in the chat. I am looking in the chat currently, so let me know if y'all can hear me loud and clear and see everything loud and clear. Drop some fire emojis. Support the channel. The link is on the screen. and make sure we run these likes up. We got 114 in the building, so let's at least try to get 100 likes in the building. I appreciate that, you guys. Let's go.
The Black Boule Secret Societies, they are the blacklisters and the betrayers of history. When we condense the word boule down even further, the term boule also comes from the Latin word archon, capital Archon, which means demon in Latin.
Hold on, say that again. Boule, how do you get from boule to archon? How did you do that?
An archon is a black man or just a man who is initiated into the boule. They are called archons, capital Archon, which means demon, which also means abraxas. Let me break it down again. Capital ABRAXAS, which means abracadabra. I kid you not. So the boule males are called archons. The female boules are called the archeus, or female demoness, or witches. Okay, Kim Fox, the Attorney General, who lets Jesse Smollett off, she's a boule, and Jesse Smollett is a boule. You see, these men, these people are controlled by the system. So then they are the blacklisters. A male is called an archon. A female is called an archeus, or a female demon or demoness, which is translated into the word abracadabra, which means that person is a curse. This is demonic now. And so as we get closer to understanding the Boule Secret Society, which was designed to control the masses of black people. Every boule is a Prince Hall Mason. Every boule is a Prince Hall Mason. Prince Hall goes back to the 1800s. A black man from the Caribbean who was forbidden to be a part of any secret society. So he started the foundation for the boules, which would come 100-some years later in 1904. So every boule, male or female, they're all white boules. There are Latino boules. Do you know AOC is a boule? Yet all of these men and women, black, Latino, and white, are boules. They're chosen to protect the compound.
All right, let me ask you a couple questions real quick. So, when do you think they get selected? Like right now we see Zion Williams. I really love him as a player. I'm a huge basketball fan. This guy seemed to be anointed very early. How early do they pick a bunch of guys when they see who plays out, who doesn't play out?
Sometimes they are chosen by birth according to the black nobility of that family. Now, as far as with Kobe Bryant, he was chosen as a teenager because the high school that he wanted to go to was not Laura Marion High School. Why did the system direct Kobe through his father, Jelly Bean Bryant, to choose Laura Marion? Because the term Marion is an occultic term within the Masonic order.
Oh,
so nothing is by accident. Kobe Bryant's steps were ordered not by God, but by the powers that be, by the dark forces. LeBron James, Zion Williamson is already a boule. He just doesn't know it. So then they choose these men and women, sometimes from a child on up, according to the black nobility.
Hold on, real quick. I'm sorry, everyone's going to yell at me. Did you say he doesn't know it yet?
He doesn't know it yet.
Hold on. So they put, and I've heard that before, that, some people get pushed forward and they don't even know they're getting pushed forward.
They don't even know that they're being pushed forward. In other words, the system is such a machine of manipulation, they don't even know that they are being sucked into a secret society that is unbeknownst, not just to Black America, but many white Americans have. Ever since your broadcast last month, I've had thousands of emails and thousands of phone calls from white people who said, Bishop, my mind is blown. I've never heard of the Boule Secret Society. So they're chosen. Some are chosen from birth. Some are chosen later on. But going back to Greek history, the Boules who protect the parliament were chosen by blood. Okay? So the Boules today are a part of the Theosophical Secret Society. They are a part of the Thelema Secret Society of the Dark Arts that you said last month, my brother. They're a part of the Scottish Rite Order, but the foundation of the Boules is Luciferianism, okay?
So I'm going to stop it right there, and I'm going to kind of get back to another video. Just bear with me. I'm going to need y'all to, hit the like button one time for the one time. You feel what I'm saying? Hit the like button. Support the channel. I got another video lined up. I need y'all to support the channel, though. We're going to get right into it ASAP. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right there. So, hey, man, so listen, shout out to everybody in the chat. If you're new to the channel, I want to say appreciate y'all for coming in. For those that's regular, shout out to the family. Peace and love. You already know what's going on. This is the Wake and Bake Show with your brother, Aboriginal Power. So I'm going to need y'all to hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. All right. Shout out to my moderators. Salute. Let's continue this fire old build. I got another set of video where we'll be bouncing back and forth. Let's get to this dealing with
the affluent here. They did pay. And interestingly enough, their expenses are here listed for committees for the Grandsire Archon.
This series is dedicated to Brother Steve Coakley.
No beginning, there ain't no ending, just on and on and on and on and on. It's all because they're so afraid to say that they're alone. Until our hero rising on his saxophone. Or could you call on Lady Day? Could you call on John Coltrane now? Cause they'll wash your troubles away.
The Black identity crisis is at the forefront of white supremacy. For the last 400 years, so-called blacks have been spoon-fed their history by a peoples whose history only began with the destruction of theirs. Most assuredly, the color-based caste system of race we know today as simply white meaning European and black meaning African was not in play during the European takeover of the Americas. The color lines were significantly more blurred. The rise of the so-called white identity is truly an American construct born in the 17th century as a method of social classification for the purposes of distinguishing rights between Christians, Confederate Indians, and captives. Throughout the entirety of colonization, the terms used to identify captured Indians changed several times before the 1900s. This formulated methodology is at the crux of the contrived black identity in America. To assume the Europeans who sailed to the Americas under the Spanish, English, or French flag were not dark-skinned would be an asinine assumption. To assume the ruling families of Europe weren't dark-skinned or swarthy would be an acid 10 assumption.
Walt Frazier, blasphemous!
To assume that those same Europeans knew nothing about the Americas is an ass 11 assumption.
He's got the nerve, the audacity, the unmitigated gall.
To assume that all Black Americans are a product of the transatlantic slave trade would be an ass 12 assumption.
Absolute blasphemy.
To assume that all skin folk are kinfolk is an ass 13 assumption.
I'm not going to be blasphemous and say that.
And to assume your grandmother was lying to you about having Indian in your family should get your ass slapped, boy.
It's so disrespectful for you to say something like that.
The problem with accepting institutional indoctrination, it tends to lead itself into pretentious presuppositions by those newly indoctrinated about those who aren't.
I spent $100 to find out I'm Black. That shit said 77% African, 13% European, and then some miscellaneous shit. I was like, yeah, that's a slave. Yep. Yep, that's a fucking slave right there. Wasn't no Indian in that motherfucker. Anybody here that's Black, you know, we've been told when we was growing up that we had Indian in our family. I got my results. I called my grandmother Amelia. I said, you a lying motherfucker. A goddamn Indian. When the fuck was niggas and natives hanging out?
I got my results. I called my grandmother Amelia. I said, you a lying motherfucker.
The two distinct lines in the sands of deception for Black America were first Christianity and then education. At the foundation of both was the master plan of the colonizer to divide the Black masses into opposing factions for the purposes of puppeteering movements and perpetrating conformity within the collective psyche of the Black masses.
Or could you call on Lady Day? And could you call on John Coltrane? Now, cause they'll watch your troubles away.
At the pinnacle of the so-called Black hierarchy in the early stages of American inception were indeed Freemasons. This list consists of the most prominent Blacks involved in the establishment of nearly all African Methodist Episcopal churches throughout the entire United States. Masonic membership was a precursor to prominence for Blacks seeking influence and power. The ranks of Masonic credibility, however, would soon divide these Blacks from white Freemasons with the creation of the Prince Hall Lodge in 1784. Until this point, Blacks were included in membership along with other Masons, as many of the founding members had earned their Masonic degrees abroad. But
hey, I want me to continue this. This is a fire one. It's one of the ones. And it's going to link up with what Bishop Larry Gators was saying. It's going to run parallel. We're going to be switching back and forth to the videos, but I'm going to need y'all to hit the like button. If y'all want to support the channel, the link is on the screen, man. So listen, let's get it. Drop some fire emojis in the chat. Hey, let's get it, man. It's your brother, Aboriginal Power, man. Peace and blessings to everybody.
American lodges were far less willing for acceptance.
Long as I have my clams, I don't give a damn about muddy water.
The Black experience in America.
Shout out to Steve Coakley. Rest in peace, Steve Coakley, man.
During colonial times did not entirely consist of slavery. Free Black cities thrived, even in the South. Many of the places well known for being major slave ports were influential Black cities. Two of these cities being Charleston, South Carolina, and New Orleans, Louisiana. In fact, by 1868, dozens of Black Republicans ran for office in Louisiana, culminating in the election of Oscar Dunn, who, of course, was a Prince Hall Freemason. But who exactly was Prince Hall?
Long as I have my clams, I don't give a damn
There is no general consensus by historians on the exact roots of Prince Hall's ancestry, although it is commonly believed he was born in Barbados. Boule historian Charles Wesley postulated that Prince Hall was born into slavery and owned by William Hall, a leather tanner from Boston. But David L. Gray, another Prince Hall historian, concludes the official record of manumission, the act of freeing a slave, was unfounded. However, in 1975, in his book, Middle Class Blacks in a White Society, Prince Hall Masonry in America, historian William Marashkin states definitively that Prince Hall was a West Indian mulatto of free status and that he and 14 other black men were first initiated by the British military into a lodge located in Boston. But the wicked hot Masons out in Boston didn't want any blacks in their frats. All right.
To echo such blasphemous nonsense.
Hey, let's get these likes up, y'all. Let's go. Let's go. Shout out to the first Americans, man. Shout out to the first Americans in the building.
As the narrative goes, these were the first black men to be initiated and accepted into an American Masonic lodge. However, shortly before the Revolutionary War, the men of Boston's St. John's Lodge, who met in the infamous location of Boston Harbor, absconded back to England, taking its Masonic lodge with them. On one of the most important dates in American history, July 3rd, 1776, Prince Hall receives a permit from the Grand Lodge of Ireland. But the permit was extremely limited. Under these restrictions, the African Lodge was not allowed to perform any Masonic duties or initiate new members. At some point within the next decade, Hall requested for a full, complete charter for his lodge, which was finally granted on September 29, 1784. Before the year 1800, Prince Hall had set up lodges in Rhode Island, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, and Delaware, who operated under the charter title of African Lodge. Prince Hall Freemasonry would become the prerequisite for any so-called African American pursuing prominence in a white-dominated society.
Yeah, it's about to get into some shit. I want y'all to pay attention to this next part. I want to say shout out to Jacqueline for the cash out donation. Peace to the sister Jacqueline for the cash out donation. We appreciate all the support, man. Make sure y'all support the channel, man. Real talk. Hey, support the channel. Appreciate that, sister Jacqueline, humbly. Let's get it, man.
Prince Hall Freemasonry would become the prerequisite for any so-called African American pursuing prominence in a white-dominated society. The Freemasons themselves are at the center of many conspiratorial plots against humanity. As stated in their own records, the society seeks to freely exchange intellectualism without the bounds of religion and politics. Quote, from Middle Class Blacks in America, Prince Hall Freemasonry. Quote, as soon as men became Freemasons, they seemed to place themselves in opposition to both church and state. In the first place, Freemasons devoted themselves to the spread of knowledge in its broadest sense. Logic led them to the realization that their aims could be pursued only when free debate and the spread of knowledge were guaranteed. The preconditions for the triumph of knowledge were freedom of association, of speech, and of the press, the abolition of censorship by the state and the church. All of this amounted to a program for fundamental change and to the demand that authority would not concede unless it was forced to. As a result, when lodges stayed clear of politics, as they were supposed to, many of their members did not, and the order's reputation with the authorities suffered. Be that as it may, the political non-discourse promoted within these lodges would soon become the trademark of this society, as most prominent Masons in American history are in fact politicians. Freemasons, along with other fraternal orders such as the Oddfellows and the Knights of Pythagoras.
So I want to stop it right there. Right? We'll be right back. We go, like I said, we rotating. We going back and forth. We're gonna get right into the next set of video. We ain't even missed the thing. We ain't missed the button yet. Let's go.
Remember the first letters of Lucifer, L, Satan, S, double D. There's your LSD. So the foundation of the Boulets starts with Prince Hall Masonry. They are black Masons who specialize in the dark arts. Matter of fact, in your city, and back in 1941, I think I may mention it this last month quickly here, there was a Boule convention in Los Angeles at the Greek Amphitheater at Griffith Park, okay? Dr. Emma Scott and Dr. Robert Moulton were the chairs of that convention. Those two men were the men that had Booker T. Washington taken out in 1915 because Booker T. Washington did not want to play the game of beginning a syphilis conspiracy.
Hold on. Okay, I mistake some. So these Boule people, right? They have did they have this recently? This at the Greek Theater, or was this a long time ago?
So that was back in 1941.
Okay, now okay. I thought this was recently. I'm like, they killed somebody in 1915 and they're still here. That's some whatever baby blood they're drinking. That's some good baby blood.
Exactly. So all of these men are dead by now. But in 1941, at the Great Greek Amphitheater at Griffith Park, and mind you, Griffith J. Griffith was a man who was a 31.5 degree Mason, dedicated, gave away, donated 3,000 acres of land to the city of Los Angeles. So then, getting back to the Boule Secret Society, the blacklisters and betrayers of history, 5,000 members, 126 chapters in the United States, in the Caribbean, and throughout England, right? We talked about buck breaking, remember, a month ago. So then, as we move forward quickly, now, if you remember a black politician by the name of Ron Brown, back in 1996, he was killed in an airplane crash in the nation of Croatia. He was a Boule, a 33rd degree Mason, but what was left of his body, Sam, they found a bullet hole in his skull because he did not want to be broken by Bill Clinton. In other words, he did not want to protect Bill Clinton anymore. So we move on here and we talk about, again, the Boule Secret Society. They are the gatekeepers. They are the protectors.
So
go right ahead, sir.
We've seen over the last week, and I don't want to jump any of your timeline of how you want to present this, but we've seen some buck breaking hardcore over the last week. I mean, hardcore buck breaking. I mean, we might know. I mean, people look back and come.
This guy always emphasizing on the sexual shit. He a freak boy.
Susan Rice steps in, and you can just tell there's levels to this shit, right? Because she goes, "Back off, Snoop. Leave Gal alone. You don't know who you're messing with, dude. We'll send an army in." 2 days after that, Snoop Dogg is making his big apology, looking like he saw a ghost. Then followed the next day, XG, with a picture of his son dressed in drag. And then finally, which seems like a week later, Snoop Dogg is on Red Table Talk. Red is a very occultic color, red shoes, red scarf, red table. And it's those three ladies. We had talked about this before. A friend of mine, female comic. She said her first memory when she moved to LA in the late 90s or early 80s. I can't remember what she said, but I think it was the late 90s. She'd gone to the Roxbury and she went upstairs. And her first thing she ever saw in LA was Queen Latifah basically molesting, we'll say nicely because I know the doctor's on a different kind of show, molesting Jada Pinkett right there in the middle of the club. So we know she's part of that. We've seen kind of how her kids are. We know the whispers that Will Smith and Jada are actually a gay couple. She's a lesbian. He's a gay man, and they married for business. And so they have Snoop Dogg at the table, dressed like something out of how would you describe Snoop Dogg's dress? Looks like what's his name? Who does all those movies? Dressed in drag, Tyler Perry. Looks like a Tyler Perry character in red sweater on with a black corduroy and just a sad face. And you know, if you watch Game of Thrones, there's that famous scene with shame. They shame walk that dude right there.
Not Snoop.
What?
That's what she said. Not Snoop. Like, not out of everybody. Not Snoop.
Yeah, and they shame walked her, and that was so uncomfortable.
Secret society. Why did he have his braids in the form of pedophilia symbols? He's been buck broken. And I guarantee you, since Kobe died, give it a year or two, you're going to see Dwayne Wade rise. You watch and see. Look at his son
doing
there.
it, dude. What about that movie that just came out? You're like, why is? And I said this, brother Larry. I go, Dwayne Wade's going to be a very interesting story because I've heard, you know, I've worked in the hospitality business in the past. I heard whispers that like Dwayne Wade was a crazy person, like, you know, like he would just thrash hotel rooms. I'm like, because, you know, I saw the fall of Michael Vick, and I go, once they realized Michael Vick was never going to be that superstar Super Bowl quarterback, all the sponsors went away, all the handlers and all the people cleaned up all the mess went away. I go, that's going to happen with Dwayne Wade, but unless he does what he's doing right now, and that is like selling himself out and that way. And now, why all of a sudden is Dwayne Wade everywhere? Why is he in these commercials? Why is he have this movie coming out?
It's synchronized. When you talk about, again, the Boule Secret Society, they are the blacklisters. They are the betrayers. And not just Black America. They are the betrayers of America, period. Now, to all of your listeners, I know that they know the history of Dr. Garvey, okay? Dr. Garvey going back to the late 1900s to the early, into the early 1920s. So Dr. Marcus Mosiah Garvey, okay, was a Jamaican African who came to the United States in around the mid to late 1900s from Jamaica. He was targeted by the Black Boule Secret Society with the backing of the U.S. government, okay, going all the way back to the late 1900s. So then why did they target Marcus Mosiah Garvey? Because he was an independent Black conservative. He was teaching Black America to be self-independent financially, psychologically, spiritually. Don't depend on the system and don't depend on the government. So then J. Edgar Hoover, okay, who was the head of the Bureau of Investigations, which became the precursor of the FBI in 1935, J. Edgar Hoover recruited Dr. Henry McKee Minton, Dr. Robert Moulton, and Emmett Scott, and all of these house Negroes of the Boule Secret Society down Marcus Mosiah Garvey.
I'm going to pause it right there. I want y'all to keep that in mind, what he's talking about right there. I'm going to pause that. We're going to get right into the next video. If y'all new to the channel, hey, appreciate y'all for tapping in. The Big Al Power, man. If you're new, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Let's move on, you guys. It's dope. Hey, let's get right back into this next little jammy jam. We ain't going nowhere. Drop some fire emojis in the chat if y'all can still hear me.
Orders such as the Oddfellows and the Knights of Pythagoras claim their organizations originally descend from the ancient mystery schools of antiquity. These mystery schools held from the intellectual fruit of civilizations past, such as ancient Babylon, Egypt, Greece, and Rome. Some historians say these societies can be traced as far back as the 2nd millennium BC. But it must be noted the entire history of ancient mystery comes from a people who themselves were responsible for the theft of said ancient mystery and knowledge, and repackaging it into a veil of Eurocentrism and Pan-African Darwinism. It's no mistake that the American Masonic lodges are coded in Old Testament names and parallels. This is by design. The hidden history of the Negro and the world can be found within the pages of Scripture. But Christianity only promoted a very limited fraction of the Old Testament. The Christian portion of the Bible is less than 20% of the entire King James Version. Illiteracy stood at the forefront of Black Christianization. Any literate Christian with knowledge of so-called Scripture could tell that the prophecies being fulfilled in the very first chapters of Matthew are complete red herrings. As the narrative of Matthew states in chapter 1, verse 23, quote, "Behold, a virgin shall be with child and shall bring forth a son." This is a direct parallel from the book of Isaiah, chapters 7 through 10, which describes the child Emmanuel who was born before the Assyrian invasion. The verses of Isaiah clearly detail the experiences of Emmanuel, which differ dramatically from the life of Christ. The next two chapters of Matthew continue to misrepresent Old Testament prophecies concerning the weeping of Rachel and the prophecies of Jeremiah. Christianity stood firmly upon the legs of illiteracy and even laziness. Did Absalom Jones or Richard Allen read from Genesis to Malachi? And if they did, how could they have still been Christians? Truly at the heart of the Black African identity was illiteracy and the hope for acceptance in a white-dominated society. The mindfuck is truly ingenious. Introduce the indigenous people to a book concerning their history in a language not native to themselves. But only through the lens of their oppressor shall they learn this book. This is why many people directly associate the Bible with Christianity, because they've never read the book for themselves. Christianity.
Hey, I need y'all to, this is the part of the bill where I'm going to need y'all to hit the like button. I'm going to need y'all to run these likes up. Right now, everybody go hit the like button and share this on all your social media outlets. Let's try to bring in 250 people in this live stream. All right, we about halfway through it. I am going to drop the link in the chat so we can get a little bill going before I got to get out of here. Let's go.
Christianity is to the Bible as the radio is to a car. That's why the books were divided into the New Testament and the Old Testament. The New Testament did not exist until 1456, just before the invasion of the Americas. The first Europeans claimed their rights to rule the Western Hemisphere under divine law. The popes of Rome signed several papal bulls affirming such, like Dum Diversus in 1452 and Inter Caetera signed in 1493. The papal bull of 1452 established the rights of Italian, Spaniard, and Portuguese houses over non-Christian people captured in war for the purposes of perpetual servitude. This doctrine was initiated before the discovery of the Americas, which means the first European explorers to the Americas had strict instructions: eradicate, enslave, and evangelize. This campaign was intentional and essential in order to maintain a common theme amongst invaders. The front needed to appear unified for maximum effectiveness. The symbol of unification between all of these houses was the cross, which in itself was familiar and esteemed by certain cults of antiquity, who historians say were most commonly associated with sun worship. In fact, the cross symbol had been used in North, Central, and South America for generations for various reasons prior to the invasion of Eurasians. For example, temples in Mexico have the exact same cross design used by the Knights Templar, found coincidentally at the Temple of the Sun. This establishes a well-founded parallel between pre-Columbian Mexico and the Maltese cross of St. Andrews, and both of their associations with the sun. However, the symbol of the cross in America has a far deeper meaning than just the worship of the sun. And most of this record was burned, stolen, and repackaged by the Catholic Church. The cross in Central America has been intimately tied with human sacrifice. For example, the Crux de Quesada, otherwise known as the St. Andrew's Cross, is an actual representation of two dead bones and is the badge of the god of death. Regular human sacrifice was offered to the sun god, whose symbol was the cross. This begs a provocative series of questions. Was the foundation of Christianity based upon the actual account of a ritual human sacrifice? And if this question seems preposterous, why is the cross so intimately tied to death? Just as in South and Central America, as well as the Caribbean, colonizing powers in North America used miscegenation to create a caste system of so-called Negroes as societal buffers between the ruling class and the subservient class. Mixed race people of color were used as house slaves, but even more importantly, they were used to communicate the owner's will to the slaves of the field. And if a slave needed to communicate something to the master, the mulatto was used as a medium to inform him of said needs. In this sense, it was only natural for mixed-race children, especially those owned by the elite, to be developed or vetted into agents of the ruling class. Of course, this is why so many of the so-called black leaders from American history were actually of mixed race, but it's socially cast for white. And even the ones who weren't socially considered white surrounded themselves with white and often married white. Blanche Bruce is prominently known as the first African American to be elected and serve a full term as senator as a Republican in the state of Mississippi. But Bruce wasn't socially black. He was the product of his father, the slave owner, impregnating one of his servants. Bruce was educated by his father and even attended prestigious Oberlin College during the height of the Civil War. Oberlin College was an institution founded by Christian abolitionists who welcomed with open arms any well-to-do black in the country. Oberlin soon became a Boule hub. Graduates like George Boyer Vachon, supposedly the first practicing lawyer in New York City, definitely a man with strong black features. He married Susan Paul, who was the daughter of Thomas Paul, who was a prominent black Boston minister and Freemason. Other graduates include Mary Church Terrell, another mixed-race member of the Black bourgeoisie of Memphis. She was a champion of women's rights, founding the National Association of Colored Women, or semi-colored women. She was also a charter member of the NAACP. She married Robert Herberton Terrell, a prominent Black lawyer from Washington, D.C., whose family was also connected to the white Washingtonian elite through banking and finance. As a young man, Terrell was the personal servant for Ulysses S. Grant. His connections brought him prominence, which led to his acceptance into Harvard, and later graduating at the top of his class in 1884. Oberlin College provided the setting for religious Christians to handpick and indoctrinate the future Negro elite with futile social liberalism. There was a well-established practice of propagating educated Blacks as social justice warriors for undercover Christian or Zionist organizations in blackface or beigeface. On the opposite end of the spectrum were uneducated Blacks, being fed the idea that the only way for Black improvement was a white education. This fundamental discourse resided at the heart of contention between competing classes of Negroes. While many well-to-do Blacks promoted education as the great equalizer, lower-class Blacks saw these people as stooges for the establishment and saw the introduction of institutionalized education as a threat to their long-held traditions. Furthermore, lower-class Blacks saw the Black elite as even more predatory than so-called friendly whites. One example of this is when Blanche Bruce became wealthy. He purchased a Mississippi plantation in which the Black sharecroppers on his property worked in conditions tantamount to slavery. However, Bruce and his wife, Josephine Wilson, congregated in elite Black circles, being lauded as heroes of civil rights. The philosophical dichotomy of consciousness was being manipulated from without. Alternative views of Black progression were, in almost all cases, being perpetuated through various factions of the white elite. The ruling class knew that in order to gain the most control over the minds of the public, the ideology of Black liberation must be manufactured in such a way as to gain the hearts and minds of the community to the point of creating and maintaining political sustenance. In short, to prevent disenfranchised people from creating their own movement for their own interests.
And I'm going to stop it right there. Hey, I want y'all to, like I said, pay attention to what he just said. Black people creating their own interests. This is critical to what I want y'all to listen to. We're going to get into this next one. Like I said, hit the like button if you're new to the channel. Hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. YouTube be tweaking and they shadow banning me. So we got to work extra hard. Now let's go.
Time I'll come back to that. So Kobe dies on this helicopter, and geometrically created you is a Hebrew. Okay. So then as we move forward quickly, we're getting closer to Kobe into LeBron. So the U.S. Federal government through J. Edgar Hoover neutralized Dr. Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Now, Boule, the term Boule has a gematria mathematical sequence of the number 55. The term sigma pi 5 has a mathematical sequence of 55 because sigma is the 18th letter of the Greek alphabet. pi, 16th letter, and phi is 21st letter. 18 plus 16 plus 21 equals, there's your 55. Sigma means, and this is powerful here, it means to summon or to conjure a spirit. Pi means osmotic hypnotic pressure, and phi means on a plane. That's interesting. So sigma pi phi simply means to conjure or to summon a spirit through hypnotic solution on a plane. Are we talking about the plane of a level degree or a geometrically created dimensionality?
Are we talking about flat Earth? Are we talking flat Earth? Are we talking realms here? What are we talking about?
Or even prophetically what happened to Kobe. So then,
oh my God!
To summon the spirit through hypnotic solution on a plane. That plane came down. It wasn't because of the fog or the wind. So then, these black boulets. Now, what did he die on? This is getting really, really heavy here. Now, my question is, what was the name and the style or the brand of the helicopter that he died on? A Sikorsky S-76B. That's named after Igor Sikorsky, okay, who was a 31.5 degree Russian Mason, whose bloodline goes back Masonically to the court of Peter the Great in Russia in the 16 and 1700s. If you go to Wikipedia and just type in Igor, capital I-G-O-R, Sikorsky, capital S-I-K-O-R-S-K-Y. If you go down to the middle of the Wikipedia page, it shows a 1914 picture of Igor Sikorsky with his right hand inside of his jacket pocket that represents Jabulon, the hidden hand of the master veils within the Masonic order, with his thumb and his pinky outside of the jacket, that represents the horn of Lucifer.
Oh, so, man.
Igor Sikorsky built the line of Sikorsky helicopters, which was sold many years later to United Technologies, through Lockheed Martin, okay, through Island Express Holdings in Van Nuys, California, all owned with George Soros shares. If I have time, I'll come back to that. So Kobe dies on this helicopter, and Igor Sikorsky goes back in the bloodline, the Russian Soviet Masonic bloodline of Peter the Great, going back to the 1600s. Now we come to Black Hollywood. Now, the memorial the other day was nothing more than a Luciferic scripted Illuminati funeral memorial. That's all it was. Okay. Now you look at Beyonce, that witch. Okay. she laid the foundation for the memorial. Then you got the WNBA player Diana Taurasi. She has both of her hands behind her back. That is a Masonic symbol. Then you have Alicia Keys, gender flexing toward the Kobe Bryant family. It was all scripted and synchronized to be Masonically created. Okay. Now there's a rumor out there, I cannot substantiate this, that LeBron James was in a black hoodie. I cannot substantiate that. Now, to your listeners, if they can go online to Google Images and type in LeBron James tattoo on his chest.
Yes.
That tattoo is the Boule Secret Society logo. Now, the whole Black Hollywood system, I believe, contributed to Kobe's death. I'll come up, give me about 10 minutes. So the term Hollywood comes from the Holly wand, the wand of a witch. So the wand of a witch, the Holly wand, is made out of Hollywood. Thereby you get the term Holly wand or Hollywood. So then, as we move forward here, man, this is getting heavier here.
Yes.
So in the Black Boule Secret Society, you talked about the 2003 rape accusation against Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant goes to Edwards, Colorado, to get some work done on his knee. Now, this is getting really deep now. So then he is instructed to go to a knee doctor by the name of Dr. Richard Stedman. Dr. Richard Stedman is Phi Beta Kappa. Dr. Stedman is a part of the Phi Beta Kappa deep state, which is the deep state arm of education and the legal faction of the deep state. So Richard Stedman is Phi Beta Kappa. And instead of Kobe staying near the doctor's office, near a local hotel, he's instructed by Dr. Richard Stedman to go some miles away to Eagle, Colorado, to stay at the Lodge and Spa Cordelia Hotel.
Oh, come on, dude.
He's sent there. So Kobe goes there July 2003, and he sees this young woman, okay, Caitlin Faber. Her parents are Phi Beta Kappa, okay? Now, Kate is not by accident that she's there at the front desk, and she's offering Kobe a tour of the hotel. That's not her job, Sam. So she takes him on a tour. Then Kobe invites her to the room. One thing leads to another, okay? Then she doesn't call the police or the sheriff, okay? And mind you, to your listeners...
Hello? Hello? Oh, come on.
Woman by the name of Pamela Mackey. She's also Phi Beta Kappa, which is the deep state faction of the educational and the legal arm of the deep state. So Phi Beta Kappa is the educational and the legal faction of the deep state. Kappa Beta Phi is the Wall Street faction. And remember this name, Jeffrey Stiebel. I'm going to bring him up in about 10 minutes. He's connected to Kobe. So then Kobe's arrested a year later. He gets off. And from that point, he begins to tattoo himself. He begins to get into the dark arts. So then he becomes a Luciferian project that will be completed on the 26th of January, 2020. And by the way, keep your mental paperclip there concerning Eagle, Colorado. 2 days, gentlemen, we're talking about the Boule Secret Society, the blacklisters and betrayers of history. 2 days before Kobe's death, the Brian Stiebel venture capital firm out of Hollywood that he created, along with Jeffrey Stiebel.
Yes.
Okay? Jeffrey Stiebel knew not only Harvey Weinstein, and he knows Harvey Weinstein, but Jeffrey Stiebel knew Jeffrey Epstein.
Jeffrey Epstein was on the board of Kobe's
Black Bolt Foundation. Jeffrey Epstein and Jeff Stiebel, and any of your listeners can just go online. And Lifeboat probably removed it. On the advisory board, Jeffrey Epstein, okay, the CEO of the financial trust company with Clinton Foundational money, knew Jeffrey Stiebel. And Jeffrey Stiebel not only knew Jeffrey Epstein, but he knows Les Wexner. Who's Les Wexner? He was connected to Jeffrey Epstein.
He's part of the Mega Group, which is a giant. Well, they'll tell you.
So these are all black boulets. I want y'all to stop and listen to that. Now, keep that in mind as well. Keep that in mind as well. We got 183 in here. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. You feel me? So let's move on to the video. All right, let's get it. Drop some fire emojis in the chat. You know what I mean? I know we're trying to move it forward. I ain't trying to talk your head off. You know what I mean? This is the Wake and Bake Show, man. So make sure y'all do y'all thing. Lighten up the next wood. Let's get it. Drop some fire emojis in the chat.
Their movements must be co-opted from the ruling class in order to sustain ruling class dominance. And the disenfranchised must be shepherded into certain lanes of seeming diametric opposition. On either side of the objective is an illusionary solution. Divided interests lead to divided people, and divided people are easier to rule. The people wanted leaders, and the establishment was fit to provide such, and the vetting process began. The powe can be more accurately described as a proxy group for several other pre-formulated organizations, such as the Free African Society, and to a greater extent, the Prince Hall Freemasons. Yet, even more proxies abound with organizations like Omega Psi Phi, Alpha Phi Alpha, the Congressional Black Caucus, and even Jack and Jill. But no matter the group, powe brothers seemingly in dispute were in reality playing for the same team. On opposing corners of the first major powe battle of the 20th century were W.E.B. Du Bois and Booker T. Washington.
I had begun to criticize Booker Washington, saying it wasn't enough to teach Negroes trades. The Negroes had to have some voice in their government. They had to have protection in the courts, and they had to have trained men to lead them. Well, all this together put such pressure upon Atlanta University that at last I resigned. I mean, they would have had to drop me if they wanted to keep the philanthropic gifts that were coming from the rich people of the North. So that I accepted an invitation to come to New York in 1910 and help the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People.
A philosophic chasm had become fomented within the psyche of the original Americans, and there seemed to be a geographical slant in its reception and presentation. The northern faction of social justice Negroes, the likes of Du Bois, whose platform stood upon the legs of integration and equality, and the southern faction whose platform stood upon the legs of segregation and inequality. The ideology pushed by Booker T. No, not that Booker T. Washington, like Du Bois, was born of mixed ancestry, but unlike Du Bois, he was born into slavery. Although little is known about his father, according to the book Booker T. Washington, The Making of a Black Leader, his father was a white man from a nearby plantation, and his mother served on the Burroughs Plantation in Franklin County, Virginia. In his book, Up from Slavery, Booker tells the story of the great day of emancipation, tears of joy running down his mother's face as she explained how she had prayed her entire life for this day, fearing it may never come.
Y'all drop some fire emojis in the chat, man. Drop some fire emojis in the chat. Support the channel. Support the channel. Yeah, man, let's run these likes up. We got 187 in here. Share this on all your social media. Let's try to bring 250 people in this live stream. Don't forget, I am going to be dropping the link within the next 20 minutes. Within the next 20 minutes, I will be dropping the link. So, hey, man, support the channel. Let's run these likes up. The link is ticking across the screen.
Face as she explained how she had prayed her entire life for this day, fearing it may never come.
And if you tag me in it, I will share it on my post, on my page.
Washington worked jobs in West Virginia salt furnaces and coal mines after his family moved to West Virginia, where blacks were free. Following his days in West Virginia, Booker T traveled back to Virginia, enrolling in Hampton Institute, a school funded by the American Missionary Association. which of course was a religious or Protestant-based abolitionist organization. Hampton Institute will become a staple of Black higher learning. And possibly the first instructor of Hampton Institute was Mary Smith Peake, a member of the Hampton Black elite. Her mother was described as a fair-skinned, free person of color, while her father, name unknown, was an Englishman of apparent rank and status. Mary Peake is considered by many a pioneer of Black education in the South. And as the legend states, Mary would teach reading to illiterate, newly freed people under an oak tree, which later came to be known as the Emancipation Oak. She was officially sanctioned by the Union Army to teach Blacks during the Civil War. Another portion of her wages came from the American Missionary Association, who endowed her Brown Cottage, the first structure on the future campus of Hampton Institute, which would later be attended by Booker T. Washington. In 1878, Booker Washington entered Wayland Seminary, an institute founded by the American Baptist Mission Society for the purposes of training Black men for work in the ministry. President of Hampton Institute, Samuel C. Armstrong, who was also a Union general during the Civil War, recommended 25-year-old Booker T. Washington to be hired as the principal of Tuskegee Institute. The initial idea for Tuskegee was not just to produce tradesmen and agriculturalists, but rather teachers of agriculture and trade, who would then go on to other schools, broadening their reach across the South. Tuskegee was founded as part of a deal between Lewis Adams, a Negro community leader in Alabama, and two white senatorial candidates. The agreement's details included Adams' influence over the Black vote for the Democratic Party, and in exchange, funding would be provided for a school for Blacks in Tuskegee. Adams didn't face this endeavor alone. George W. Campbell, slaveholder and senior partner of Campbell and Wright, the oldest banking and merchant firm in the state of Alabama, partnered with him to acquire the necessary connections to accomplish the Negro Normal School in Tuskegee, which would be located directly across the street from the home of George Campbell on the property of Butler Chapel African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church. And of course, Lewis Adams and Booker T were both Freemasons. The opposing ideologies of Booker Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois were at the forefront of the Negro movement dialogue in America. Booker T also ran in circles of the Black elite and had lifetime friendships with the most prominent white men, including Julius Rosenwald, who donated generously to Tuskegee Institute, author Mark Twain, oil tycoon Henry Rogers, who also donated to both Hampton and Tuskegee, Andrew Carnegie, and William Taft, just to name a few. Although Booker ran the South in terms of popularity, he also was well entrenched in Northern elite circles of influence. William Denslow quotes in his book that Washington was made a Mason at sight by the Grand Master of the Prince Hall Lodge of Massachusetts, with an additional source indicating H.C. Benford, Grand Master of the Lodge of Alabama, in whose jurisdiction Washington resides, granting him sanction and congratulation. In 1900, Washington created the National Negro Business League in Boston, along with his wealthy friend, Andrew Carnegie. In 1905, W.E.B. Du Bois created a group of his own to directly counter the influence being made by Booker Washington, called the Niagara Movement. Their platform, based on social equality with freedom of press and speech, as well as an end to discrimination, stood at odds with that of the National Negro Business League, whose platform was more of a compromise, in which blacks would not press for social or racial equality, but instead be allowed to participate in vocational trades and training and employment in a white economy while living separately without the threat of violence. The Niagara movement lasted less than 5 years due to infighting within the organization. They held annual conventions in Harpers Ferry, West Virginia, Boston, and Oberlin, Ohio. When Booker T. Washington died in 1915, the Negro League continued to be headed by Robert Russa Morton, the man who endorsed the infamous Tuskegee syphilis experiments, which led to numerous deaths of blacks in the Tuskegee area. The National Negro Business League is still in operation today under the name National Business League. With Booker T pinned down 6 feet, Willie started looking for new opponents. His most formidable opponent to date was a man by the name of Marcus Mosiah Garvey, who also ran in elite circles of prominent white supremacists and Freemasons. Marcus Garvey is one of the most championed black leaders of the early 20th century. Born into a Jamaican family in St. Ann's Bay, his father Malchus was a stonemason, which earned the family enough to be considered low-level bourgeoisie. Malchus, however, was notoriously terrible with managing his finances and was unable to maintain his personal property, which he had to relinquish to cover his debts. Marcus never had a close relationship with his father. According to author Colin Brandt in his book Negro with a Hat, The Rise and Fall of Marcus Garvey, his paternal grandfather had been born into slavery, and the Garvey surname descends from Irish slave masters. As would be the case in his ascension, Garvey would always hold a special affinity for Ireland in his heart. As a young man, Garvey converted to Catholicism and began working jobs in Kingston, eventually becoming a labor union organizer. It would be after this when Garvey began seeing the path of his future political destiny. He involved himself in a protest to remove Governor Sidney Olivier from office to stop the migration of Indian people to the island for indentured work, who had began taking jobs from native Jamaicans. From this point, Garvey began publishing somewhat politically inspired writings and also entered himself into oratory contests to hone his skill set for public speaking. Marcus would come to befriend Joseph R. Love, a former anglicized clergy member of Trinity Church in New York, turned Pan-African propagandist, would become the mentor of Marcus Garvey. In 1911, after Jamaican labor hardships, Garvey moved to Costa Rica to work for the United Fruit Company as a timekeeper. From his station as timekeeper at United Fruit, he published a scathing newsletter criticizing the company's treatment of its laborers. Garvey then traveled around Central America for a few months before moving to London to further his political aspirations. While in London, Garvey would establish the connections to create the largest Back to Africa movement to this day. On the next episode of Boule, we discuss the most important events in the life of Marcus Garvey and how the relationships he fostered were essential in his breakthrough influence. We will also uncover the hidden lineages of some of the most prominent so-called black politicians in American history. On the next episode of Boule.
Hey, so what I want y'all to do is get ready because I'm about to drop the link in the chat. Drop some fire emojis in the chat, man. This this the part where we have the open panel session. Drop some fire emojis in the chat. You feel me? We'll drop the link in there twice. Let's get it cracking. The link is in there. I'm gonna play a little jammy jam.
Cam sliding on the beat, that bitch go play.
Cody Metro.
Threads 3000.
They doing this bad with
Yeah.
life.
That man.
I know my people ain't fighting for this.
Martin was fighting for civil rights, but we ain't got human rights. I ain't trying to hear no fall in line, cause you ain't gonna do me right. Martin was fighting for civil rights, but we ain't got human rights. I ain't trying to hear no fall in line, cause you ain't gonna do me right. We know who we are. 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 Choctaw, Cherokee, we know who we are. Seminole, Muskogee Creek, we know who we are. Scalping season, scalping season. Caught us lacking, we done figured out what's happening there. You mad, we like what's happening with you. Matter of fact, take that vax and them taxes with you. All these classes with you and this fake social status with you. I already know some of you people like let it go. Letting it go, I ain't letting it go, unless I'm letting it go. We got it the worst here, somebody we was here before. Act like y'all don't know. My grandmama don't know nothing about no boat. Everything these people told you a lie. Some can't see it. I'm wondering why they build you, enslave you, and take up your time. Most of the time they be all in your mind. Lie all the time, so a lot of us blind. We waking up daily. It's almost the time. We know we divine, but why would you try? Y'all ain't superior. Why is you lying? I don't need you cause I ain't needy. I don't trust you cause you break treaties. Give you an inch, you get too greedy. Pyramids here don't need no TP. Some speak Southern, some speak Geechee. American blacks, indigenous, Niji. Thread my life, I still speak free. They say something in the water, I see what they meant.
I do.
Y'all remember how they did Niji and Flint?
That's true.
Everybody know the Trail of Tears was through the South.
Right.
Historically, blacks been in the South, so what they talking about? We ain't from Africa, I ain't not supporting you. If you been to jail, why they not deporting you? Y'all act like the key to warfare ain't deception. Some of y'all act like y'all just wanna be accepted. I don't know if it's just me, but I don't respect it. I don't know if it's just me, but I don't respect it. What about them dozens of treaties neglected? And if they ain't neglected, we ain't get the message. I'm about to forget everything you think you know. We talking about one of the greatest lies ever told. Now we finding our tribes and things jump off, we side by side. Our ancestors to be proud, they quarantined us, we outside. We fighting for civil rights, but we ain't got human rights. I ain't trying to hear no fall in line, cause you ain't gonna do me right. We fighting for civil rights, but we ain't got human rights. I ain't trying to hear no fall in line, cause you ain't gonna do me right. We know who we are. 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 Choctaw, Cherokee, we know who we are. Seminole, Muskogee Creek, we know who we are. Martin was fighting for civil rights, but we ain't got human rights. Martin was fighting for civil rights, but we ain't got human rights. Martin was fighting for civil rights, but we ain't got human rights. Martin was fighting for civil rights, but we ain't got human rights.
Martin was fighting for civil rights, but we ain't got human rights. Martin was fighting for civil rights, but we ain't got human rights. Martin was fighting for civil rights, but we ain't got human rights. Martin was fighting for civil rights, but we ain't got human rights.
Alrighty then. Shout out to IC3 in the panel. What's up, IC3?
Yeah, greetings. Keep up the good work. Yeah, you're putting the information out there and causing people to think on serious subjects that need to be discussed and analyzed. No time for the fancy games and sport. Got to focus on real issues.
Shout out to you. Shout out to C3. Tell everybody where you from. What's your name? Well, you know what I mean? I got some questions for you too, man. Can I see you?
Yeah. One second.
Shit, he left. We got Haruda Duke of Great Lakes up in this thing. What up, though?
What up, though?
What you got going?
Shit, take a whole morning walk.
Yeah, no, that's right. Where you at? What type of water you at? Where you at?
I'm in Detroit.
What body is that right there? Is that a lake or river? Where you at?
No, it's the lake. It's Belle the island.
Yeah, that's dope. Beautiful scene. I'm gonna just put it on you. I'm gonna put you on the solo screen for a second. I got you. You good? Hey, so what's up, brother? C3, what's going on, brother?
Yeah, so I'm based here in London, and my focus is on the construction of a black nation in order to receive reparations. A lot of talk about reparations. So my focus is reparations. A lot of people talking over the years about reparations, and there's been a whole lot of confusion. And
Are you a black man yourself?
Can you see me?
Oh no, hold on. Let me put you on the solo screen. Yeah, there you go.
That's right. That's right. Did I look black enough?
Yep.
Yeah, they say.
So so now I got some questions for you. I never really get to talk
fire
to
the
them.
questions. Fire the questions, man.
I never get to talk to an elder from London. Actually got a nice set of viewers that's family that I built communityship that's in London, over there in Rochester, several different parts of Europe. Right, been dealing with them for years. Some of them are actually POWs who was taken from Jamaica and brought to Europe. So now I got some questions for you.
Okay,
Now,
fire away. Fire the questions, man. That's good.
All right, so
the questions is a way to test the strength of the ideology.
That's true, and I want to get to the truth. Not even I don't. I will get to your ideology in a second. But are you an African?
My parents are from Jamaica, and I was born here in London, UK. So from Africa indirectly, yeah.
So from Jamaica to London.
Yeah, my parents were born in Jamaica, but I was born here in the UK.
Yeah. Okay. So say that you're a Jamaican living in London or in the UK right now.
So let me give you this. So I'm 97%, 97.7% black, 2.3% white. Paternal haplogroup is EP252. Maternal haplogroup is L2C. Root place, where my father said down the family where we originally came from was from the Ekiti state. That's Ekiti in Nigeria. So that's way back, captured slaves from then, enslaved Africans from then. So Ekiti state is my root. So I'm sub-Saharan 98.8%.
Right.
Nigerian
60%. And you did that from DNA test, right?
That's right. That's 60%.
Right.
So we don't know how accurate these are, but it gives a rough idea. We don't know how accurate
they actually tell you the accuracy of them, and that's funny you brought that up because could you use this in a miscible of court? So this proves that you was a enslaved African. Could you use this in court in legal documents?
Hey, that's a good question, actually. Yeah.
But the question to that would be no. It's because of the accuracy of it. It's not admissible in court, and it has not been used in any legal matters. As a matter of fact,
as yet,
right. Yeah. As yet, they will eventually come up with further technologies to advance it. But as of right now, if I'm not mistaken, it's used strictly for general purposes or what they call entertainment purposes.
Is that what they use it for?
Yes. Okay. Yes, the accuracy of it is less than 1%.
Okay. All right. I thought it's good for conversation anyway. You know.
Yeah, it is. But
Yeah.
what I like, what's more important is because I don't really trust a group of people who's colonized us and set up systems like eugenics and other systems in place to take their criteria methodology to tell us who we are when we can
Exactly.
simply do genealogy, right? Track records going back from your maternal and paternal lineage.
Yeah, but on that point, in the establishment of a black nation, yeah, then we'd have our own experts in genealogy who can do DNA tests and all that kind of stuff. It will be done in house. So we'll have our own DNA people. We'll have our own bank. Because what's the point of getting reparations to put it into which bank? You know.
Right.
So if you don't have a bank, it's stupid talking about reparations.
Right.
Because you'll be putting it back into the same system. So
It's
you've got
very.
to.
There's not a lot of black-owned banks. I can be. It's very few of them. I believe it's one recently opened up in 2014 in California. A black-owned bank. But yeah, you're right. But let me ask you a question. Do you
But hold it
believe?
before you. What there are no black-owned banks.
I believe it's
There's
one
a
in
lot of
California.
banks. No, I did some research on that. You can test me out if anybody wants to challenge me on that.
Yeah,
I've
it's
done
all
my
good.
research on all the so-called black-owned banks, and a lot of them started off as black-owned banks, but after a while, white shareholders came in, other entities came in, and it's not totally under black control. Yeah,
Y'all
so
need to
there's
point
no
out
full.
the freedness.
And plus, how can you have a full control or black-owned bank if you can't even set up a nation or a state, or even manage a community? You got to have a network. You got to have a state. The state can print its own currency.
Yeah, and that's another thing, man. We got to get out of this construct. Black doesn't refer to any group of people. There's no nation called black.
As yet,
nation.
correct. You're correct. As yet,
and there will never be because people are never. No, because people
That's
are
a big
not
word.
black. People
That's
are
a
not.
heavy word, man. Never.
People are not black, right? So to identify yourself as something that you're not totally leaves you with a shaky foundation, right? So
go on.
Yeah, so when you call yourself black, that's just a misnomer.
Okay, hold that.
So now
Hold
you're
that.
not talking about literally of your skin. You're talking about a fictitious version, or artificial, or a status, or a description, or if you will. So when you say black is a nation. Black doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, as yet, but it was good enough for the enslavement and the continual abuse.
They didn't even call the people black then.
Exactly, but people classified as black, whether or not they take that identity on themselves, they get abused by being by blackness or black identity being imparted or imputed on them. So if you look black, you're black, and then you will suffer the consequences in an institutional white supremacist racist system, whether or not you want to identify yourself as black or not.
Well, I just look at it as a system of colonization, right? Because when you look at Africa, right, you can't say that it's totally dominated. Well, you can say it if you want to say it's dominated by white supremacy, but white people in the continent make up less than 10%. So that means 10% is totally dominating a whole continent.
Yeah, hold
And I
that point
wouldn't
there.
call it
Yeah,
white
good point.
supremacy. It's done under colonization.
Okay, hold that point there. Numbers it's organization and intelligence. So a small group like India, the whole of India was controlled by a small number of British people. So it's not in order to maintain power, it's quality rather than quantity. So a small group of well-organized, sharp, intelligent people, ruthless, they can dominate a whole herd. It's like farm animals. They can control a whole nations, multiple nations.
Yeah, but in circumstances this happen, but this is usually when one nation has already been battling for some time with another nation, and like you seen, Britain came in and settled the score. They was already both defeated at the end of wars, battling for hundreds of years. You had the Indians of India battling with the Afghanistanians for thousands of years. The Britons stepped in not only to capture it, but to improvise money, capitalism. So you see them same groups of people, the Indian in America, you see the Afghanistanian in America. These people have been battling for thousands of years, and they now settle their beefs in America based off of economic gain. Okay, and this is what
And
Britain's
what's the
do.
point? What's the point you're making?
So Britain didn't step in and control them by brute force. They did it by money, right? So
Yeah, it doesn't matter. They're controlling them, whether it's brute force or money, whatever. They are in charge. That is what it means. White supremacy. They'll maintain supreme control over the people by financial means, by violent means, by drugs, by whatever. They don't care. They've just got to hold on to power. That's what they're focused on.
yeah, but they main outlook, and it ain't just white people. I mean, you're gonna say white people, I guess, but it's other people of all races that's benefiting off of the same thing. The same people in Africa that makes up the large percentage of Africa is doing business with Asia, doing business with Britain, undermining their own people. So it's their own people that's doing it.
Okay, hold that point there.
We so narrow minded, and we look for an escape route by saying it's him, the white man.
Okay,
But
hold
it's
it.
really your people's next to.
Okay, let's take that apart. What you're saying. Let's look into this now. Do you believe there's such a thing? Have you heard of Neely Fuller?
I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, Francis Cresswell Singh.
Yeah, Francis Cresswell is a legend. Rest in peace to the Empress.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So Neely Fuller says there's white supremacy. Now there are some black people who say, look, white supremacy. There's no such thing as white supremacy, and there's other black people that say. There is white supremacy. So there's two basic camps, and basically, depending on which camp you're in, will show your worldview and what your plans are for the future.
I believe
so
it's
which,
just.
Hold it. Which camp are you in? Do you believe, as I do, as Neely Fuller does, as Francis Cresswell Singh does, that there's such thing as white supremacy, or are you saying that there's no such thing as white supremacy? What's your position?
Well, I'm not going to say what, and rest in peace to Francis Cresswell and some of the legends, because they did what they did with the best data they had. What I'm gonna say is either you the colonizer or you the colonized, and that's the way I look at it. You see what I'm saying? We got to stop
I
giving these
understand, but
people
I want
too
to know
much
if
power.
you believe
We
that.
got to
What's your
stop giving
position?
these people too much power. It starts in your mind, and once you got it fixed in your mind, you're gonna bow down to them anyway. And you see it happening in submissive groups in Africa. You see it happening with the indigenous people of Europe. You seen what they doing with the indigenous people of Australia. It's because they bowing down, and then a lot of those people started revoking it after they understood.
Okay.
After they understood, y'all power don't mean shit. We can run y'all right out of here. We seen it happen in South Africa.
Okay, good. So before we start discussing solutions, because I like to stick on a solution.
Well, I don't want to deal with solutions right yet because
otherwise it's just whinging. You know, black people can talk for hours and hours about the problems, and they say, "Oh, this is happening here. Oh, we're suffering here." But when you say to them, "Okay, how are we going to deal with this problem?"
This the thing, though. I don't really deal with everybody else around the world because I don't believe all skin folk is kinfolk. So what I'm dealing with is America, right? And I'm dealing with American Negroes and the oppression that's going on here.
is the American Negro suffering under white supremacy? Let's talk about America then. Tell me about America. Is the American Negro suffering from institutional racism and white supremacy?
No.
Is that right? So the American Negro no longer has any problem with racism. Is that correct?
Racism and white supremacy is two different topics of conversation.
All
Now,
right, tell me a different.
yeah, it's a huge difference.
All
Now,
right.
is there
Tell me.
racism going on in America? Yes, anybody and everybody, no matter who you are, deals with racism. No matter what. We're racist, they're racist, everybody's racist. Now, do we practice this socially and economically? No. Some groups do. So
Hold it
benefits
there. Let's go bit by bit. Some groups do, and so should the black people in America be practicing racism economically?
Absolutely, because what we call that is segregation. That's historically that's what they would have called it, right? Segregation.
Okay,
Simply dealing with your people, building with your people, shopping with your people. This automatically gains and creates economic footing for you.
Okay. All right, good. Hold that point there. So we both agree that the black people, or the people classified as black in America at this moment in time, are suffering from the problem of not effectively uniting to maximize the economic
Hold on.
benefit.
Do you think racism is bad? That's what I need to ask you before we move on, so we can have an understanding on that. Do you believe racism is a bad thing? Because I don't. I believe everybody practice it, and I believe it needs to be done. Now, I think you might be confusing prejudice with racism, but
No. Let's deal because what we're dealing with here is quite a heavy topic. It's not. Let's focus. Let's go step by step because as we converse, we could keep jumping all over the place. And so let's deal with America. They're going to teach me your perspective because your position is white supremacy does not exist. Okay, my position is that white supremacy does exist. So we'll park white supremacy to the side, and I want to understand and talk about your understanding of how the world works, and based specifically how the black experience in America. And so far, I understand from you that the black people in America, your position is they're not suffering from white supremacy because white supremacy doesn't exist. What they're suffering from is bad organization or something like that. Is that correct? And they're not the black Americans are not working effectively together for economic benefit. Is that your position?
Racism, economic racism.
Right. Do the American blacks have a problem with that?
Excuse me. What exactly? What did you say? My bad. I apologize.
Right. I understand that from what you've said is that the blacks in America are not working together effectively.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yeah, and it's not that we working together effectively. It's like we're working, but our spending, the way we suffering things, the way we need to manifest things, is not happening. So if we were secluded, once again, let me break this down. If we were secluded, right, and not dealing with anybody socially, economically, educational, right?
That Black Wall Street, you mean?
You call it that, right? Tulsa, Oklahoma, Wilmington, North Carolina, Rosewood. You feel what I'm saying? Tulsa.
Okay, hold it. So let me understand your position. Your position is you're trying to encourage black people in America to go for segregation so that you can build another Black Wall Street.
Negroes in America need to go back to doing what we always did. Stay to us. build and elevate, create inventions, stay to ourselves, shop with ourselves, and we keep. And that's how the growth happened.
Right.
Soon as we
That's
started
how it worked in the
integrate,
past.
soon as you seen black people stop having farms, inventions, all the businesses, the inquiry, fastest growing companies, largest economic uh, income from cities generally owned by Negroes or Aboriginal people of America, right? Soon as the integration started is when you seen it start to crumble. So it shows working with
Right.
others, shopping with others is
Segregation is
only
better.
benefiting others. So the way you go back to that is to stay secluded. And in this funny world, you can use the word that's racist to say, I'm not going to hire this person or I'm not going to work for this person, right?
Right.
Socially, it's not that we just going to deal with ours first. So if it's more of my
Right.
people in line, y'all at the back of the line. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, and that's how that
Okay.
works.
Hold it. So you're ADOS then, yeah? ADOS.
No.
You don't agree with ADOS?
No, this is the Aboriginal movement. We are the first Americans. We believe we are the autonomous beings. You ever heard of American Indians?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
allegedly, that's a misnomer of what they classified us. We was later classified as Negroid, then we was later classified as colored, and then later classified as African American. But my people are the indigenous Aboriginal people of this land. We are not American descendants of slaves. Yeah, we're not American descendants of slaves.
Right. Okay. So your position. So you're not ADOS then.
Mm-mm.
Oh, right. Okay. So
We don't believe our ancestors was taken from a foreign country and put on boats and then enslaved in this land, forced to build it up, and then put into conditions that we are in. We do not subscribe with that, nor does history.
Right. Okay. I understand your position better now. Okay. The Aboriginal. Okay. So the Aboriginal people of the Americas,
Yes,
of the
sir.
so-called Americas.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay. So then your problem then is to be able to organize, or your challenge is to be able to organize the Aboriginal people of America effectively to regain sovereignty on American soil. Is that correct?
Yes, and I believe that most of it comes with paper, and paper deals with self-identifying. So on paper, if you're not a sovereign, then you cannot be looked at or recognized as sovereign. How can an African American be a sovereign if they took you out of you, misclassified you?
Right. Okay. So, so are you encouraging? How are you going to sort out the?
So that's why I was trying to tell you. That's why I
Americans?
was
How are
trying
you
to
going
tell you
to
that.
find them? How are you going to
That's why I
organize
was
them?
trying. That's why I was trying to tell you earlier. I'm not with no solutions with nobody. I'm not with no black nations building up. I'm with regaining our Aboriginal heritage and our land here and control here of our continent. You
Right.
feel me?
Okay.
So
Right.
and that's why I was asking you, like, are you
what's
an
your plan
American?
then?
Because you said you was Jamaican. You feel me? And then you said that
No.
your plan.
I'm not Jamaican. I'm of Jamaican descent. My parents, my mother and father, were born in Jamaica. They're Jamaican. I was born here in the UK.
Oh, okay. Let me ask you a couple questions then, just so we can clear this up. Your mother and your father was born in Jamaica.
Correct.
Was their father and mother born in Jamaica as well?
Yeah, I reckon so.
That's your grandparents, right?
Yep.
Was your great grandparents born in Jamaica?
Yep.
You're Jamaican.
No. See,
So at what?
So let's deal with this issue of identity. Let's deal with this issue of identity because
okay. So let me ask you a
serious
question.
issue.
So let me ask you a question. So at what part do your family lineage, your grandparents is not born in Jamaica? At what year, in what part are they not born in Jamaica?
Right. So let's do it 1 second. Let's see if you agree with this. 1 second. Let me show you this. Right. Right. So let's how do you decide what I'll tell you my position, then I'll see if you agree with me. The way one grasps one's identity and the concept of the self, I understand it's a combination of 5 elements. And I'll see if you agree with this. So I'm going to give you my position, then I'm going to listen to your position. Right. My position is that your identity it's like 5 fingers of 4 fingers on the thumb of a hand. So basically, it's your DNA combined with your state of mind or habits, combined with your appearance, combined with your lineage, combined with your place of birth. So the 5 things that matter when deciding your identity are: 1, place of birth. Where was you born? 2, lineage. Who was your mother, father, grandmother? Just like that's like you said.
So
hold it. 3, appearance. 4, state of mind, culture, habits, and so on. And 5, your DNA. So would you agree that those are the 5 factors that enable you to grasp your identity? Do you see there's more or less, or do you agree?
I mean, not necessarily, but let's just say I do agree, which I can, okay, and I can understand your understandings, right? So, but I got to ask you some questions.
Okay.
Right. So name the first one. Let's name the first one that you name.
Place of birth.
Place of birth.
Place of birth is an important aspect of identity, but not necessarily, because Black people born in Britain are not.
All right. So listen, I
necessarily
want to move on kind of fast because you got 5 of them. So you said place of birth. We already established that that's Jamaica, correct?
No, I wasn't born in Jamaica. I was born
you was born in UK, right?
That's right. But my parents were born in Jamaica.
Right. So we'll give you Jamaica. We'll give you that. Right. And because we know
No. You can't give me that, because even the Jamaicans won't give me that. No, you can't give me that. I was not born in Jamaica. My parents are born in Jamaica and they're from Jamaica. But I was born here in the UK. So some Jamaicans,
what we're trying to do is get to the root.
Some Jamaicans will say, no, you're not Jamaican.
So listen, what we're trying to get is the root of
That's why
you.
place of birth should be taken off.
Hold on. What we're trying to do is get to the root of you, right? So if we're going to your parents, they will override you, right? If we're trying to get to the root of where your lineage come from, your parents override you, correct? And origin of looking for, and root of.
Not quite. You make a good point, but you got to think.
Did your parents come before you?
Hold it. Yes, that is true.
Okay,
but
so now if we trying to go,
no. Wait. Don't rush on this.
No. I just want to ask the question.
What does the state?
If we're trying to go back on your lineage, where would I go?
Is not enough. The state.
It's not.
They
belong to. It's not enough. But listen, it's not enough.
Important factor of your identity.
Listen, it's not enough. But we're gonna walk you down to it very simply.
Okay.
Instead of you jumping to a conclusion or using any indoctrinated ideologies into your own understanding and common sense. Okay? This is what we're going to do. We're going to get rid of all the Ivan Van Sertima, Sheikh Anta Diop, Dr. Ben. We're going to get rid of all that right now. Okay?
Okay, go ahead.
I know where you're coming from. Trust me.
Okay.
Done did this already. So what I want you to do is we're going to be real. Your parents was born in Jamaica. Your
Correct.
grandparents was born in Jamaica. Your great
Correct.
grandparents was born in Jamaica.
I didn't
And
separate.
I
Yeah.
didn't even ask about the
I ain't
great
separating
great
them.
grandparents
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
so
because
could
you
be Africa. It could be Africa.
because you don't have probably know too much information on that, right? So we'll just stop
Yeah.
with what you know for a fact on, right? We ain't gonna make no assumptions. We're not gonna deal with assumptions. So with that being said, is what was the second factor that you said?
Uh, lineage.
lineage, your family.
Lineage. So now
Family. That's right.
since we did yours easy, it wasn't hard to track because both of your family lineage come from the same birth spot, and the culture probably would be the same. So the next thing you said was DNA.
No,
Before
no.
you
3. Appearance.
No,
Appearance.
appearance.
appearance. Now
Yeah.
the appearance is what we call phenotype.
Okay.
Culture.
What a person could observe and physically see. So what one will physically see is that you're a Negroid.
Okay.
And what science
And
says
that's important because
and,
you asked me to turn the
and what
camera on.
science
That's right.
and what science says is the first walking people, Homo sapiens sapiens on this planet was Negroid, and they was all over the planet. So that means that the Negroid look is a custom everywhere. It is not exclusive to one particular spot. It's everywhere. So phenotype, we got that. Boom. We all look black. Everybody that's original, that's from a place, 9 times out of 10, unless you have a mixture or some type of mutation admixture, you're a Negroid, right?
Okay. Good.
The fourth thing you said is DNA, I believe that's what you said.
Yeah. The fourth
DNA.
one.
You said
Fourth
DNA.
one. No. The fourth one is state of mind and habits.
State of mind and habit. Well, most of your state of mind is going to come from who nurtured you, right?
That's right.
Raising us to be
Culture.
white now.
That's right. You got it.
We all Caucasians.
and so if your parents raised you, then you got the culture from where your parents was born at, which is Jamaican culture. And if your parents was raised by their parents, which was in the same origin spot, then that's more of the culture. So the culture and your state of mind should be of Jamaican culture, right?
No, it's not because I was born here in the UK,
Understandable.
schooled here in the
You was
UK, went to
indoctrinated.
school here.
Listen. I said we're gonna get rid of your indoctrination. We're dealing with common sense now of what it is and what it should be at this point. Now we know shit has changed because you are indoctrinated. You speak a very polite English, and you're living in the UK right now, so we're not dealing with that right now. We're gonna deal with common sense, right? So you should be practicing Jamaican culture. That's what you're not, even though
Hold
you're
it.
not.
I should be practicing Jamaican culture here in the UK. Is that
Well,
what you're saying?
this will be your state of mind because your state of mind comes from one who nurtured you, one who raised you. And if the one who raised you is born and culture is from Jamaica, and the one who raised them culture and origin is from Jamaica, then yours should be that. Is what I'm saying. Even though it's not based off indoctrination. So this is according to yours. So we got what your state of mind should or was or could, but what is not, right? We know yours is still Western education, dealing with whatever education they teach in the UK, which we know is standard Western education.
Right.
DNA is your blood lineage, right? Your blood lineage, meaning the one you get your blood from, your blood.
Yeah.
Now this is where it gets tricky.
That's right.
because you're going to go to a genealogy test, which you just elaborated on quite recently in the bill, but that's not accurate. It can't be used in legal leads, so it's not even really admissible. So how would you identify your DNA before they had genealogy testing for you guys? Because that's only a recent thing. They didn't have that in the year 2000 for you. You can use it. You can use that same test in the year 2000.
Right. So you make a good point.
What was you identifying then, and how would you identify, and what methodology was you using besides the genealogy test?
Right. So before the DNA, then it would have been just 4: birthplace, lineage, appearance, and state of mind. Yeah. So we just delete DNA. But now DNA number 5 is there.
Well, does DNA have to do with ethnicity?
Well, you see, the relationship between DNA and ethnicity is a big question, because what is ethnicity? Ethnicity comes down to identity again. So ethnicity, what is that? Is that to do with your appearance? Is it to do with your state of mind? Do people who share an ethnic group, do they all have the same culture, state of mind, and habits? Do people that share an ethnicity have the same kind of appearance? You
So
know,
listen, so we know DNA
how
can't be
about
used in a
birthplace? How about
visceral report.
birthplace?
So
See,
so we know we can't use DNA because you don't have a methodology that can be used.
yeah, right. So we have the other four then: birthplace,
We dealt
lineage.
with that. Boom. So what I got from you is state of mind, which comes from your mother, right? Which is organically an indigenous Arawakian Yamaka culture from the islands, right? From the Caribbean islands. Appearance will be much like those people of the islands, which is Negroid. Lineage uh, would be the islands as well, Jamaica. Birthplace would be the UK. So that's what we got so far.
Right. So there's different standards. Some people would say, look, if you're not born in Jamaica and you're not, you haven't been brought up in Jamaica and schooled in Jamaica, then you can't be fully Jamaican. It's almost like being mixed race.
If you take an Australian out of Australia and he had kids born and two Australian men and women had kids in Jamaica, Aboriginal Australians had kids in Jamaica, would that make them Jamaican? Or would they still
No,
be Australian?
no,
Aborigines.
because being born in Jamaica is only one birthplace is only one aspect. People people to perceive that you're part of their culture, for people to to perceive that you are one of them, for people to accept you as being one of their nation, one of their
Well,
family.
we're not talking
They,
about the
they're
name.
gonna
We're talking
they're
about
gonna
the
look at all
people.
these. They're gonna look at all
We're not
factors.
connecting to the name more or less. When we say Jamaica and Jamaican, we're tying to the original people of that land, the people that reside there, that's been there, not more or less the name and the semantics. You see what I'm saying? Uh,
But
so
the name is the vessel that holds the identity.
so we know if you take a damn dog uh that's born in America and they had goddamn kids and they had puppies in goddamn China, they still decide goddamn same thing where they was from the
That's right.
get
That's
go.
right.
So it
That's
doesn't
right.
change with humans. It doesn't change with humans. So you a Jamaican born by Jamaican parents, born in the UK doesn't make you not a Jamaican. You're still a Jamaican. Just
Are you an American?
huh?
Are you an
Yes.
American?
Yes, absolutely. I'm the first American. I am
But
the
hold
only
it.
American.
If you no, because if you're indigenous, like you're saying, if we go by your rules, right? Um, it was an outside entity that named America America.
That's not true, brother. Are you the
There were
dude
people living there.
Amerigo Vespucci did not name America. He did not name that, brother.
Oh,
That's
okay. Who did?
the term was used because where he went to, he heard that this area was called Amaru Ken by the Amaru Empire. So he named
Oh, right.
himself
Okay.
Amaru Vespucci. So, like I said, they named themselves after our land that we already
Ah,
been
right.
called here.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. That's good. I understand. I understand.
Have you ever
The
heard of
theory
the
or position.
Amaru Khan? Have you ever heard
No,
of the
no. I
Amerindian Empire?
no. I never heard of that. No.
Oh man, you got to do your research of the indigenous Negroes of this land. The 90% of the people in America that you think maybe are African descent are not African descent. We're indigenous Aboriginals to this land.
Right. Okay. Okay.
The,
So okay. So okay. I think we have a slight disagreement on exactly how to clarify and pin down what exactly our identity is. But I think we've gone
Well,
quite
no,
far. Because
you're
you're
Jamaican.
saying that I'm Jamaican, and I'm saying no, that's not enough. I understand your position, but my position is that's not enough to be Jamaican. So I would not classify myself. I'm of Jamaican descent, but I'm not Jamaican because the Jamaican identity. I believe that identities have to be
No,
respected. Hold
descent.
it. Let me finish. Hold it. Identities have to be respected. Otherwise, they lose value. If anybody can be Jamaican, it doesn't hold.
If you want to be an Englishman, I identify with whatever you want to identify as.
No, I'm not
But
English.
but as
Being born in
origin,
England doesn't
but
make me English.
as origin of lineage, right? As your lineage, as origin, not descendant, not descendants.
My
Not a
lineage
descendant, but
is Jamaican.
origin of lineage. You're a Jamaican. Both
Well,
parents
you
and
could say
mother,
I'm African. Yeah,
both
but
parents gave birth to you from Jamaican stock, meaning both
yes,
50
yeah,
and
but it
50% of
depends
your
how far you
chromosomes
go
that
back.
make you come from
No,
Jamaica. 50 and 50 equals 100. You're 100% of Jamaican, bro.
yeah, but I'm 60%. I'm 60%. Let me see. What's my
You can't go with that test. That's
Nigerian?
faulty. That don't work.
Okay.
That's for entertainment purposes. We told you
Okay.
you
All
can't
right.
use that in
Okay.
court.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Entertainment purposes. Okay. All right. So let's leave the identity issue now, because I think I understand your position, and you understand my position. So we have
All
slight
right.
disagreements there. But so let's move on. So how what plan? How are the Aboriginal Americans organizing themselves
Mm.
to what? Do they have a plan? What
Oh
what what
yes, we
what, what
do.
are you
We
all
do.
doing? What are
We
you all
got a
doing?
beautiful game plan, and we have great solutions that we know 9 times out of 10 that's going to be very, 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 very successful. But what I'm not going to do is illustrate them with anyone, most likely a non-Aboriginal, because this is part of our solution, and we don't want it to be corrupted in any way.
All right, good, good. So how about ADOS? What do you get on with the ADOS people, or
I don't even know what Ada. I heard about some American descendants of slaves, but they kind of
yeah?
fell off and became FBA, which is Foundational Black Americans, and then they kind of fell off to just becoming Aboriginals. So I don't know.
Right. So what's the name of your organization?
Well, we don't have an organization. See, this is a way of life. This is just people coming into true lineage, true heritage. And so, with it being what it is and so grassroots, it's starting to become a movement. So, with it become of movement, organization is now forming. This is just the Aboriginal way of life. You know what I'm saying? We're stepping into our indigenous Aboriginal appearance, heritage, and position. You
So how about the
understand?
American states? Do you
Continent. The America is a continent. It's a continent like Africa,
yeah? But the
like
American
Australia.
state, the United States of
Yeah,
America,
United States,
that
right?
that government, um, is it an Aboriginal government?
No, it's only a little place. It's only 10 miles. The United States is only 10 miles, and it sits in an area in between Maryland and in between Virginia. They call it the District of Columbia.
Ah,
It's only
right.
10 square miles. That's the United States.
So
Anywhere else outside of that is America. That's the continent.
right. Okay. So when you say segregation, um, in what way do you see yourselves as Aboriginal people segregating? Do you want certain states to secede? Do you want to drive out? Is race an issue? I mean, are white
No,
people?
race is not an issue for us. We don't suffer. We're not getting beat in the head by white people. We're not getting hung. We don't get beaten working fields and pick cotton. That's all stories you probably heard about our history, which is false. Actually,
Oh,
the more accurate rendition of our history is that these black people owned most of the land. They was farmers. They was inventors. The government, United States, with us doing business with them, we became in debt. So a taxation came. We lost our land, became sharecrop holders, and now we've got put into the conditions where we are today. See, it doesn't.
they
So
lost it. Who do you lose it to? Who are these people?
well, the United States government. So what?
Oh, right. So
Yeah,
they're your enemy then. Is that you perceive them as your enemy?
some way, yes, yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
Well, we
Okay.
just look at them as a boss, and at this particular, because we're citizens. Most of us was classified as citizens. Some of us has corrected our status and is now sovereign, but for the most part, we are citizens, which is subjects of, right. We're citizens, a slave of, a social slave, if you will,
Of the American
to
government.
of the American government. So it's like a
Right.
boss. So the word
Right.
slave could be used as a worker, a
Right.
employee, if you will. So instead of us having to be the employee, we should be the boss,
Right. Oh, it makes sense.
once we
You're the
was.
original. You're
Right,
the
once
Aboriginal. Right.
which we
Right.
was. So so that's kind of what we're dealing with right now.
Okay. So what's your plan then to get rid?
I can't tell you the plan, but
Oh,
I know you
hold
want
it.
to know. But
No, it's okay.
we got
Don't tell me the
it's
plan.
beautiful.
But do
It's
you have a
beautiful.
plan? Hold it.
Yes, we
Do you
do.
have a plan to take over the governance of America?
For the lack of words, we have a plan to become the rightful owners again.
Right.
Yes,
Okay. All right.
legally.
Okay.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. Okay. And then how's that going for you?
It's going beautiful. It's going
All
beautiful.
right. That's good news. That's
Yeah.
good
So
news
the
then.
main
Yeah.
focus is conditioning our people to unlearn the things that they have learned, because 90% of the shit that they have learned through history is false. So now we have to get them to unlearn, and then we condition them with preliminary and accurate history. So I consider myself a historian. I am an archaeologist and a geologist forensics. So this is what we deal with. We deal with culture, we deal with science, we deal with the oldest civilizations done by Negroes, Aboriginal Negroes in America. Long before Egypt exists, we had pyramids and civilization here.
Right. So how about the new wave or the recent wave of African or West African immigrants coming to America? I know that ADOS is trying to say, look, we got to separate ourselves from
In
them.
your
What is
words,
your position? What is your position?
in your words, right, that you use, white supremacy, right? And I use colonization. Let's use your words. They're doing the same thing that white supremacists doing, or in my words, colonizers is doing. So, and all foreigners is doing the same thing to the Aboriginal
Right.
indigenous people here.
Right. And do you have a way of identifying the indigenous Americans separate from those black people that have come from the Caribbean and those black people that have come from Africa and elsewhere? Do you have a clear
Besides,
way of defining the Aboriginal Americans that will take position and governance of America?
It gets hard because you have first generation and second generation foreigners that has learned to adapt to Aboriginal culture. But for the most part, you can simply identify by their culture, language, and sometimes even phenotype. For the most part, phenotype.
Right. So you're saying it's difficult but not impossible.
Hey, and listen, this is an open panel, you guys, so anybody can hit the link and come on. This is not exclusive to one person, so y'all can jump on the panel. Don't be scared. Let's get it. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. So are you saying then? You said it's difficult. So it's what system do you all have a system for clarifying who are 100% Aboriginal Americans from those that are mixed with foreigners? Do you have a
Oh well,
system?
shit. If you mix with a foreigner, nah, it's really it's hard to, because obviously, if you mix with an Aboriginal, you're mixed with a foreigner. You're still could classify as an Aboriginal. You know what I'm saying? So,
Oh,
but,
right. Okay.
but most
So,
most foreigners are not mixing with our people, so we don't really mix with foreigners. So it's easy to identify, and it is a
right.
methodology behind it.
And you have a method. I can't even say it, methodology. You have a system for identifying original Americans separate from those who are not original Americans and who
Yes,
do not
yes. It's
deserve
called
to be governing.
it's called genealogy.
Right. So from the so how do you manage? Do you do DNA tests or you don't use DNA? How do you
No,
use your
you
genealogy?
use records. You use congressional records. You use records that your ancestors left, and that was on documents, government documents, federal documents, state documents, uh,
Ah,
uh, birth certificates, death certificates, and various other things, man. Marriage certificates, what else? Land deeds, patents, inventions, ownership of property, engagement of ownership, employee memberships, slave ship manifestos, receipt.
slaves. But I thought you said that the Aboriginal Americans are not descendants of enslaved people.
Oh, I didn't say we was enslaved. We actually enslaved white people. As a matter of fact, tons of white people was enslaved in Americas.
Oh, so the Aboriginal Americans were enslaving white people before the.
Well, this is during the time, like I said. Do you remember who I said, quote unquote, who you said who our boss is? Do you remember who our boss is?
United States
Right.
government,
The United States government was a colony at first.
a colony of white people.
Uh Mick, it was white, black, a
All
little
right, so
bit of
race
both,
is not
right?
really an issue.
It was already it was out in Europe and London. It was already mixing going on. Where you at already? You got to. This is I'm about to get into early history in London in the UK, right? So in the 1600s and 1617, you got Oliver Cromwell who was going bankrupt, who were linked in with the Britain, who had just established colonies in America, right? And how can they make some money? They started enslaving the whites in that particular area and shipping them out to the colonies and enslaving them in the colonies, creating economic gain for London, creating them for going up totally bankrupt as a country, and bringing in forced labor to get things done in that particular colony's area, because they didn't know how to farm on our land. We wasn't working with them. We was doing our own thing. They only had a 10-mile square area at this particular point,
Okay.
which they still got. It hadn't stretched.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Um. Okay. Okay. Okay.
So,
So
and the influx of slaves started to happen. As a matter of fact, hundreds of thousands of white slaves started to import into America. Irish slaves, European, English, British, and London slaves. Okay, hundreds of thousands of them. They have found bones of slaves that has been tossed out into what they call slave holes, and the bones has actually came back to be the same Caucasian people that we call white people today.
right. Right. Right.
They got a
Interesting.
book on it
Interesting.
called White Cargo. If you want it, I can put it in the back, and you can get it.
Yeah. Put it. Put it in the back. I'll copy these links. And I'll
Yeah,
go white cargo. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I'll put that in the back for you. Hold on, give me just a second. And there's another book called "They Were White and They Were Slaves."
Okay.
I'm gonna put both of those in there for you. Okay.
Excellent.
So So this like I said, you still, not just you, and I'm meaning this in general, we have learning to do, right? They have indoctrinated you and gave you a false reality of history.
Who's
And
the
now,
they you're talking to? Who the they you're talking about?
meaning my people here, because we was told a Kunta Kinte story of slavery and being on ships. You feel what I'm saying? Which is, we know is false. We know.
Who are the they that you're talking about?
I said
Who are the
Aboriginals.
baddies?
I said
No.
Aboriginal
Who are the
Negroes.
baddies? Who are the baddies? Who are the they? The baddies. The ones that I know you're fighting against the United States
Well,
government.
in this case, the colonizers. That's who's writing these
Right. So
artificial stuff.
who are the colonizers? How do you identify a colonizer?
Well, the colonizers will be nations that came over here to colonize. We have French, Spanish, and Britain.
Right. So let
We
me
have
write this down.
Spain, France, and Britain.
So the colonizers.
Yep. I put those books in the back for you too, brother.
Excellent. Let's see. Let's write this down. So the colonizers are Spain, France, and Britain. Is that all? Are they all? Is that all the colonizers? And is it those? Are these the
These are the
entities?
main. These are the main influences. Now, what this is, these are the ones that hold up an umbrella of colonization. So each one got an
Right.
umbrella up. And under this umbrella, different foreigners come in: Africans, Jamaicans, not necessarily Jamaicans, Australians, other people from the Eastern Hemisphere, if you will.
Right. So so by challenging the American government, you're challenging Spain, France, and Britain indirectly. Is that your position?
Yeah, if you will. Yeah. Hey, right now we're gonna take a quick 30-second break. We got a new person on the panel. Shout out to Johnny, and we're gonna get right back to everybody. Shout out to the brother, man.
Yo, peace.
What's going on? We got the brother
Peace.
Johnny Omac up in here. What's going on with it?
Yeah, man, I'm just chilling, listening, and shouts out from Florida, Tampa, Florida, in here.
Man, shout out to Florida in the building, man.
Yeah,
Florida in the building.
but yeah, I mean, so obviously it's homeboy's first time hearing this type of information, and like the first time I started, I'm kind of new to the community myself, so the first time I started hearing this, it was pretty much like a plot twist to the whole, story they've been giving us since since childhood and like schools and everything. You know what I
Right.
mean? But
Yeah, see, we was raised by an indoctrinated mind as well. So we have an artificial set of understanding of history implanted, and then we attach it and apply it as it's real, even though it's artificial. So it's hard to unlearn certain things, and that's why I was trying to explain to the brother IC3, which is a good conversation for those that may be new, because maybe y'all getting some new information that maybe can help y'all have a better understanding as well. So shout out to everybody that's still in the chat. We got 261 still off in here. So shout out to everybody.
yeah, I'm always tuned in, and it's crazy too because I started talking to my family about this type of stuff, right? And so I came up to mom's. I'm like, when was the first time you heard about like some transatlantic slave trade, right? She didn't tell me that her family told her no stories or none. She said that she seen the movie Roots, and that's how she found out.
Yeah, me too. That's how
And
I
we
found
know
out.
Roots was a fake movie. Roots was sued. It's all allegorical. As a matter of fact, they have a 30-foot tall statue of Alex Haley, which is the guy who wrote Roots, in my city where I'm born and raised at. You know what I mean? So we know all about his indoctrination down there. Nobody he dealt with the $1 Million Club, which was a Mason club that was set out to gentrify most of the communities. They own most of the banks in Knoxville, and most of the churches where your grandparents go are tied into these banks. So when they go spend that money in the collection plate, that church go take that money down to that bank. That bank do work directly with the Millionaire Project, which is the developers program, which get these highways built to destroy your goddamn grandmama house. So this is how this system worked, man. And Alex Haley was a main factor to persuading our people into getting down with that movement. So
Right, right. Because it's like, what's the best way to steal somebody's land from right under their feet? You know what I'm
fuck
saying?
Alex Haley.
Yeah, it's make
Yeah.
them believe they came from somewhere else.
The banks put the people in debt, and then they can't pay the debt, then they lose their land or lose the property.
Yeah, if you look at the earliest acts and extension on acts in America in law, they was all tax extensions and land grabs because they was trying to grab our land. They was adding tax on. We never paid the tax. That's what the whole Civil War was about. If you forgot the forgotten causes of the Civil War, look up the book "Forgotten Causes of the Civil War." It talks about the debt, the tax, white slaves. All this shit goes into this particular book, man. It's a dope book, man.
Right.
All primary literature.
Right. Cool. Like, and what I know about the Civil War and stuff, I know like after it was over, you had like the daughters of the Confederate soldiers and whatever, how they were going around to the school boards trying to like whitewash, like pretty much the whole Civil War story. See, I was under the impression they was trying to make it like seem like, it wasn't all that bad. Like the white people didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't all that bad and
Yeah, they
stuff.
whitewashed a lot of shit, got a lot of shit signed off and petitioned to get destroyed. Historic buildings that your ancestors built and created. A lot of this shit. A lot of these people give you a dumbed down story when you go back in Tennessee, Chicago, Illinois, San Francisco, Philadelphia, and you going down to their downtown cities, you see some of these historical buildings that been there since 1639. You got to ask yourself, who built it? If we know that these Europeans wasn't in our area running nothing because they was enslaved in the colonies in the 1639, who built these magnificent structures? Your ancestors, the indigenous Aboriginals who already had an operating government here.
So you don't see that so the issue of white people and black people, you don't see it as a fundamental issue.
Man, they ain't shit. Man, ain't nothing to think about. They ain't nothing.
Right.
I don't even think it's necessarily like white people as a whole.
They
It's
just
like,
benefit. They just benefit off
right.
of from being in this system more than we do. We just benefit less. It's just like anybody else. When you look at any Russian or German that grew up in a particular culture, some cultures be like, yo, we love the commies and the fucking Hitler, he was a great guy, and you got our culture telling you that Hitler was a bad guy. So it's just like whoever wins gets to set the tone of the narrative, and a lot of people are persuaded by artificial implants of indoctrination, man. So what I'm saying is we ran the land and we was the big dogs, and now we not. So why would they talk good about us? Why would they talk good about anything that was here?
Right.
You feel me? Why would they even tell you that you keep telling you that you are the big dogs that they beat up? What they gonna tell? They rather lie and tell you that you came from somewhere else.
Right. And they skim over things
And as they do this, you become emotionally attached to this. And then as you become emotionally attached, now you got other agents and Boule members like Marcus Garvey creating this Back to Africa movement with people that's never came from Africa, so he can get them off the land. So these white people, which is England and other secret society people, can have America, which is the holy land, the land of milk and honey. It's simple, man.
Yeah,
Okay,
another thing
interesting.
too, like how they skim over things. You know what I'm saying? Like you just gotta
A
like
lot of food that's in Africa came from America. Most of the traditional dishes made in Africa come from indigenous origin plants that came from America.
And they were shipped over to Africa and planted. Is that what you're saying?
Well, they was not only shipped over, they was shipped over. Yeah, pretty much shipped over, took over there. This
hmm
voyages, cargo drop off.
Right,
Africa
right.
always had a hard time sustaining themselves with what we call natural resources or food resources. They always had a hard time with that. It's mentioned in all literature, even in their own literature, historic literature.
So, in order for the Aboriginal power, for the original people to take control of America from the states, the system that is now, I mean, that's quite serious. That's a serious move.
Oh
Uh,
no, we're not trying to take over this system because this ain't our system. This they system. We got our own system that's just not being used, and we got to become the rightful bosses of that shit. You can't do it until you got
what
a
system do
certain,
you have?
huh?
What do you have a system? Are you
Yeah,
saying you have
yeah,
a system?
yeah, yeah, yeah. You're gonna see it real soon. And you can't even get into it until you have a proper uniform. You can't get around it, you can't run it. It's just like if you working for a nuclear plant, you can't just walk in there with regular civilian clothes.
All right. Okay.
You
Okay.
got to get into
Interesting.
your proper uniform. You must be in your proper identity when having to run something in this position. So now we're getting into our proper Aboriginal identity to run the system. So, like I
Wow.
said, man,
So you
it's a
even
lot
have
to
your,
it.
your
G. I'm
you
giving
even
it to
have your
you in a
own clothes.
nutshell. I'm giving it to you in a nutshell. I got over 10,000 hours of information dealing with Aboriginal history, concepts, and solutions. I got over 300 videos on my channel, so just check them out.
So so when so yeah, we can't say the Aboriginal nation is, well, it is. You're saying the original
Aboriginal
Aboriginal
nations. You got to add that S on
nations. Oh,
plural.
right. Okay.
There you go.
Okay. And will each nation have its own? The leaders, will they be wearing their own uniform, or will they have their own particular look?
Yeah, we all be in our proper uniforms. You'll know exactly who we are.
How many Aboriginal nations are there? 54.
How many Aboriginal nations is it?
Yeah. I mean, of America, How many Aboriginal nations will
Shit,
be
a lot.
uniting to take control of America?
Over 500.
Wow, 500. And do you all have you all um, divided up America into 500 pieces for each nation?
Well, we can't talk about that right now. So, I mean, listen, man, everything is already in the works. It's beautiful, man. I'm just hoping everybody else that's thinking.
500 piece. You divide America up into 500 pieces.
You know how big America is, bro? We stretch all the way out from Canada all the way down to Brazil.
Right.
Oh, right. Oh, wow. Okay. Right.
Yeah, it's a whole lot.
America's big, bro. I mean, I don't know how big it might be
Right. Right. So you're
550 by
including.
now.
Okay. So
You
I was
probably
thinking
just
about
thinking about
North
North
America.
America.
I
Yeah.
was thinking about North America, but now,
Oh,
now I'm
you
getting a
just thinking
picture.
about the north. Oh, the north. Oh, you fuck yeah, north. The north is the rough side. That's like the rough areas. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Nah,
Oh, I'm getting your picture now.
America is a continent. So we have it's a whole continent. It's huge.
Right. So
hmm
so your organization spans North America and South America, uniting the whole of the Americas.
Yeah, we going back to the original, right?
Right. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Now I'm starting to understand. Wow, this is a big project.
Man,
Whoa.
it's beautiful, but it works better when it happens naturally, organically. You feel what I'm saying? So the process is already happening rapidly.
Right. Wow. So all the like Uruguay, Paraguay, Argentina. But
Hey.
they killed off most of the black people in Argentina, didn't they?
What make you think that, man?
Oh, that's what I heard. I read some
Man, they
reports.
told you that all the black Indians was dead. They told you that all the Aboriginals died. They told you that they killed them with smallpox. They told you that all these motherfuckers came from Africa. Alex Haley said Compton Kente got his foot chopped off. Nigga, they been lying to you the whole time, G. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They been lying to you the whole damn time. Dr. Ben lied to your ass. Sheikh Diop lied to your ass.
Wow.
Ivan Van Sertima lied to your motherfucking ass. Everybody done lied to you.
Wow. Big deception we're talking about here. From
I
your
mean,
position.
I mean, yeah, I mean, we still got people like, seriously arguing about if the earth is like round or flat. And you know what I'm saying? And we say something like this and people like, what? You know what I'm saying?
Seriously.
I mean,
so who go on.
Go ahead.
So there's no actual organization. It's just people throughout the Americas getting to know their history, their family history, and just looking after their own particular tribe or group. And that sometime in the future, you hope that all these 500 different groups, families, communities within North and South America will unite.
Well, listen, what I'm saying, organization happens naturally, bro. Organization is just a large body of people with a particular understanding of social and especially business. You know what I'm saying? So yes, we have this. We have this under control. Trust me.
But natural business doesn't just happen naturally. It's it has to be organized.
It does happen naturally.
I mean, it is. It's going to be. It's going to be organized, but it's naturally organized. You understand me? Yeah,
Okay.
of course,
So
organization has to be organized. We got it organized.
Okay. So will you be using a capitalist system? How will you be running the Americas? If you take control from the American state, what will you be using? Democracy, or will you be using a mixture of different?
Man, listen, it's gonna be some shit you ain't never
We're
seen.
using love and care. We're using love.
Listen, you gonna listen. Wait, you just gonna have to wait till you see it, G. It's gonna be beautiful.
Okay.
It's gonna be beautiful, G, and it's already happening. You don't even know it. That's how you came.
So what's your plan?
I got the
10 years,
algorithms under
50
control.
years?
The world gonna be knowing now.
Wow. Okay, this sounds interesting. Okay. Interesting. The unity of the Americas, North and South America, driving out the foreign forces.
No, I don't want nobody to leave. Hell, how we gonna make our money?
All right. Okay. Right.
We don't want to hurt nobody.
Okay. So you just bring the colonizers.
We bringing peace and love.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, sure. Miracle, please chill for me, homeboy. You good? I like it. He's spazzing. But listen though, man, we just want we bringing the peace and the love, G. You know what I'm saying? We don't want. We just because the system is ran with hate now. So we want to run it with peace and harmony.
But love is a matter of perspective, because I suppose the American state are saying that they're running it with love, and they're organized, and they're in power, and they can say, we're running it with love because we're in power. So God has blessed us, so we're in control of you.
Nah, we ain't gonna say God blessed us, man, because we don't believe in that, and they don't believe in that.
Which God will which is the Aboriginal God? Is there one God or multiple gods? Now, I'm just trying to understand your position. You know, it's new. I haven't heard this angle. So I understand now. Unifying the Americas, North America and South America. There will be no North and South. It will just be the
I mean, it'll
Americas.
still be a north and south because you still have a north is a direction. So no matter we unify, it's still going to be a direction in America. You feel what I'm saying? South is still going to be a damn direction, whether we unify it or not. You feel what I'm saying? So,
okay.
North is a direction, right? When I say I'm going north, that's
right,
north, west, east, south. Shit
right.
like that. That's directions.
Yeah.
All right. So you're all working undercover at the moment. So you don't want to reveal.
No, we're not
your
undercover.
plans.
No, we're not undercover. We're not undercover at all. Hell no.
So
No.
how are you going to create a government to usurp the authority of
We
the
don't
American
gotta
government?
create the government. We don't gotta create. You see, that's the thing. You gotta understand. This government is literally borrowing, not they borrowing, not government. They waiting on us to get into our position. Like we ain't going. It ain't gonna be nothing. We just gonna show up. They gonna be like, okay, shift over, boss here. Back
What?
you see what I'm
Shift
saying?
over.
Under new management.
Yeah.
Wow.
Under new management.
Under
new
management.
America under new management. Just step aside.
Well, it's going back to the original management because you got to ask
Wow.
yourself: this
Free man of
government?
the land.
Are you familiar with the Constitution of America?
I know a little bit, but I
Do
wouldn't
you
say I'm
know where it
familiar.
came from?
Hamilton and a few of the Freemasons. The Freemasons that set it up, wrote it.
Yeah, they borrowed it. They borrowed it from the Indian Constitution, which they call
not
the
from the
Iroquois.
Moors.
The Iroquois, they adopted it. They adopted the Iroquois Constitution. We allow them.
Iroquois. Can you put the link in? I want to do some reading.
Yeah,
The
somebody on the
Iroquois.
panel will
I
put
never
that
heard.
in. Somebody, one of the brothers on the panel will put it in there for you. They'll
Okay.
definitely do it. So you never heard of the Iroquois?
No, never heard about Iroquois. I heard that they said it was the Moors.
Have you ever heard of the Cherokee?
Yes.
You ever heard of the Mohawk?
So can't the Moors can't be?
I heard that the
Iroquois,
Moors
can't the Iroquois be Moors?
Right.
Am I hot? Bye.
Say that again. The Cherokees are Moorish people. Is that your position?
Say what?
You know the Moors. There's a lot of people talk about the Moors.
I don't know nothing about
Moor.
them. I don't know nothing about them, bro. I'm an Aboriginal, bro, of America.
Right. So there's some people saying that America was built from the Moorish government situation. Now you're saying it's from this other group, that the original Aboriginal people had their own system of government, and it was stolen by the current United States government and used to subdue and control the so-called Americas. So what's the name of this group?
So you said it was a Moorish government?
Yeah, I heard that some people say.
Have you ever seen a Moorish government? You ever seen a Moorish military?
Moorish military?
Yeah, government come with military, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a Moorish military?
No, I've never seen one.
Have you ever seen a Moorish judge in Moorish Magallier or whatever? Have you ever seen them? So what are you? I'm saying, is this made up or you just pulling my leg here? What is going on?
Haven't you heard about the Moors?
Yeah, I think I know what he's talking about. Like I
I've heard of Moors. Moors is a term, but you said Moorish. I've been hearing about this Moorish bullshit, but I've heard of Moors. Moors is a term that was referred to the Aboriginals here, the ancient Aboriginals of the valley. So it's a classification that some foreigner called us when they came here.
Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just like they were saying, there was like Moors on Christopher Columbus's voyage and stuff like that too.
Yeah, that's what I heard. That's what I heard. Right, right.
What you mean
So
you never
Moors.
seen the Indian military, bro? You crazy? Come
Oh yeah,
Don't do
but
that.
I
You
see it
know
in
the
all
link
the
is out
westerns.
there, bro. Don't do that, G.
All the westerns, they show John Wayne is shooting the Indians, kind of thing. The
Yeah, yeah.
so-called
Like I
Indians.
said, Kunta Kinte said he got his foot chopped off too.
Right.
And y'all believe it. Some people even cried doing some of those movies.
Yeah.
So,
Pulling them heartstrings, yeah.
Right.
So yeah, indoctrination is real, man.
Yeah.
That's all that means.
And they never like, from the beginning, they never just straight up like said, "Oh, we African." You know what I'm saying? They always called us everything else. You know what I'm talking about? They only started calling us like Africans like during the 1980s.
But you don't use that term African now, do you? For the Aboriginal people, you
Why
don't
would
call
I be an
yourself Africans, do
African when
you?
I'm an American?
Right. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. You're not going to call yourself Africans. Is that your position, Johnny Olmec? You don't see yourself as an African. You see yourself as an American Aboriginal.
Well, I'm still going through my genealogy, so I'm not for sure. I know that some people did come from like they did bring some people from Africa over here, but it's not the numbers that they actually given us. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't
Yeah, that's true.
like that much. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I believe that once upon a time, everybody on the world was highly melanated. You know what I'm saying? So like so this whole black and white thing is just like a really new concept because they just popped up, oh so recently.
So, what I understand from what Aboriginal Power is saying, that the black and white thing is not really an issue. But you see black and white as an issue. So your position is different from Aboriginal Power, correct?
Somewhat. I just see like just our skin colors are just weaponized against us as just a polarization tactic, you know what I'm saying? Just like Republican, Democrat, just polar opposites. So I feel like these so-called white people don't know any better because they're brought up in the same educational system that we are. So, there's a reason why they try to emphasize and make it seem like only black people were getting enslaved when there was a lot of white slaves too. You know what I'm saying? To the point where even some so-called black people will get mad when like a white person comes up and be like, "Oh, there were Irish slaves too." You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it,
Right.
that ain't how it's done.
The colonizers weren't really racial. That's Aboriginals' position. Colonizers were just about making money. They weren't racist. I think that's what the position he's saying. So black and white issue is not an important issue. It's about the problem is being the colonizers. They have to be dealt with. It doesn't matter whether they're black or white. It doesn't matter what race they are. He doesn't see race as an important factor in all of this. So that's why he doesn't believe in white supremacy.
I mean, yeah, it's a made up thing, yeah. I mean, if you a child, you know what I'm saying, you 4 years old and you from then on in school you taught that all your ancestors came from Africa and y'all were slaves for 400 or whatever years and whatever, and it was just black people, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna grow up thinking, oh damn, with like an inferiority complex, and then that's the that's the only reason why this concept of white supremacy is even a thing. You know what I'm saying? Because they that they lied and told us this cap ass story. You know what I'm saying? To make us, pull your heartstrings, just like the movie Roots and all that, just to make you think a certain way about yourself.
So what does the panel believe? What is it that keeps the colonizers organized and grouped together? What is there? Is there a god that they believe in, or is it money that they're after, or what is it that enables them to organize so effectively to take America? What was their order?
Money and land.
Yeah, their ability to just manipulate people. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I have a question. My bad to interrupt. Can I interject?
Yeah, shoot.
Okay. Oh, what's up, Aboriginal Power? Thank you for letting me in. I gotta spice things up a little bit. We owe the United States government owes China whatever $1 billion, right? Do you ever wonder why they still loan us money? They keep loaning us money. Why do you think they keep loaning us money? And how do they trust that we'll ever pay them back? That's a question.
Yeah, no idea. I've heard some things.
Okay, what have you heard? Okay. Anyways, so why if somebody owes you, if you give somebody $5, they owe you. Give them 10, they owe you 15. You give them another 10, they owe you 25. And why would you continue to give them money? So what I will say from the China side is, well, we want to keep them in debt, because if we keep them in debt, we have something over their head. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
But then from this side, why would we continue to borrow money, and how can we continue to convince them to keep letting us borrow money? Well,
it's the World Bank, isn't it? The IMF. So it's not so the IMF are controlling China and America and everybody else indirectly. That's my understanding.
I'm about to get ready to end this. I gotta run, y'all. My bad. I ain't mean to. I ain't know what the hell was going on. What's up, Esky?
It was sad, man. I said what's up earlier. I don't know if you heard me.
My bad. Stepped away. My bad. Johnny Omet. I see 3. Appreciate y'all for coming on here, man. Hey, we still got a little crowd in there, man. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. Hit that like button.
See you next time.
Oh, damn.
I see 3, man. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Tap in on the next conversation. We usually do an open panel quite frequently.
I've been subscribed for a while.
Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah, man.
Damn, I didn't get to finish my point. Maybe next time.
Yeah.
Maybe next time I'll finish my point.
Yeah.
I
look forward.
Yeah, but anyways, trilateral commission. I was going to talk about that for a little bit. And
yes, that's right. That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, and when you're born, you're given a birth certificate. So this is telling China. This is telling China, look, we got one more dummy that in 18 years he's going to start working, or in 22 years he's going to start working. So we'll get more money by taxing him more.
That's right. That's right.
We'll get your money eventually.
Yeah.
Social security number, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely. Hey, Aboriginal Power.
What's up, Big Brody?
Oh, nigga said Big Brody. Okay. Nigga younger than you, but you call it, I'm younger than him, but you calling me Big Brody. That's what's up.
Man, you sound like you about 39, man.
Nigga, how old is you?
You got that heavy D, bro.
How old is you? Don't start that shit again. How old is you, man?
I ain't gonna tell you. I'm old as hell, though.
This nigga. But you a girl, nigga? I ain't gonna tell you. How old do I look? How old do I look?
I'm 41.
You ain't no fucking 41.
Yeah, I am.
This nigga's a liar.
No,
anyway,
it was.
Put that on mama.
Put that on sweet baby Jesus, man.
Nigga, you don't give a fuck about that shit. Nigga, what you talking about? You ain't fooling me. You don't care about no Jesus. Anyways, I was gonna say, because after we hung up yesterday, it hit me. I was like, oh shit, I messed up. Panama is divided in water through Panama City. If you look up Panama City on the map, there's a gap of water there. That's what I meant to tell you yesterday. Nigga, what you mean you know? You say you can walk over there.
It's man-made. That's a man-made trench, bro.
Okay, right. That's what the homegirl said. Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
I'm gonna pull up the construction next time you come on here. I'm gonna show you the construction of the Panama.
Okay. Yeah. Homegirl said that. I ain't know that part. I mean, I never heard of it, but I knew there was water separating. And then another thing, because he was like, "Why are you saying Dominican? You might as well say Haitian and European." Why you say Dominican?
I say you Haitian and Spaniard.
Right. And I say Haitian and Dominican. So what I was going to tell you is the reason why I don't say Haitian and Spaniard, because in somebody's mind automatically, they're going to say 50-50. 50 Haitian, 50 Spaniard. That's what somebody's going to think.
That's what you is.
Negative. So if I say...
How you not?
Check this out. So if I say Dominican, you said Dominican is a Spaniard mixed with a Haitian. So if I say Dominican and Haitian, automatically in your head, you have to say minimum 75% Aboriginal. You have to say it in your head. Get me? Instead of 50.
Oh,
Get my
okay. I
point?
see what you're saying.
You see my point? So it's
All right.
closer. It's closer to what I really am, in my opinion. So I'd rather say,
Well, you got to take consider. You. We'll just say that you about 68% Negroid, because you still
fuck
got some.
out of
You
here.
know you got
Fuck
some
out.
because you know you got some European in you too. You
Nah,
already admitted
nah,
it.
nah, nah,
You
nah, nah,
say you
nah.
got a white grandma or something down the line. Then
No,
you
no,
say,
no, no, no. White great grandma. No, no, no.
that's
Yeah,
what I'm
great.
saying. That's what I'm saying. So you got some white in you too. Don't do that. Don't do
But
that.
it ain't a quarter. It ain't more than a quarter.
A grandmama, yes, bro.
Great, great, great grandma.
Listen, it's all good.
Great grandma.
Oh, this
Yeah,
is what.
don't
This
get
is
it
what.
confused.
Yeah. So if you have two black parents,
I don't.
yeah,
Oh yes, I do.
yeah. But if you have a mixed race parent, then you're 75% black. Yeah.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So yeah, but we
Yeah.
ain't gonna get into all that again. Look, I guess that the chat started up again. I already see my name popping up.
Yeah,
Nigga
and
with a
then, but look,
this dude got
if you got one white parent, then you are.
What you mean? You talking about the
50%.
Confederate flag? I just told you about I just told you about the Chickamauga. I just told you about Dragon Canoe, nigga Jack. That's
Wait, you
what
talking to me?
they. Yeah, yesterday, 38 regiments, Chickamauga, Lookout Mountain, Rocky Top. I just told you about the Red Pyramid yesterday in Tennessee. I told you about them battling in Tennessee, the Chickamauga.
Yeah.
Nah, that's why you say you got a Confederate flag though. But you don't know that flag that you call the Confederate is really the Chickamauga flag. But you didn't know that though, did you?
Oh, okay. That's like the rainbow flag is in the Bible. That don't mean I'm gonna fly a rainbow flag, nigga, because niggas don't know that. Gotta play political too. Gotta be smart about it. Chickamauga, nigga.
Identity is going to be clarified to organize effectively.
Chiefess
Son Owl, Esky a trip. Okay, yeah, that's
All
cool.
right, y'all. We about to get out of here, man. Peace and blessings to all the American Aborigines, man. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. Hey, matter of fact, we're gonna bump this right quick before we get out of
All
here.
right.
Man.
Have a good
Let's
day.
get out of here.
Peace.
Shout out to everybody.
Hey man, all I'm saying is, nigga, you always got something to say. It's like you don't shut up. Placing on the track.
A lot of niggas died 1865. Chickamauga fled, how I ain't gon' let it ride. Everybody hollering black was never on your side. They do math to tell your apps where you sleep at night. They put that white man on. Got you begging them for answers like that white man know. Had you swearing you was African, that's that white man home. Had you proud to be a savage, that's that white man's zone. And I ain't talking shit, this my definition. If being savage was our nation, y'all be non-existent. We done took your ass out when we was in them kitchens. Instead of showing you how to live and how to maintain business. White supremacy fake. Only way that shit real is if you do what they say. We the guards to the gate. So when they say they fear God, now you know what they made. Shoot some, move some, shoot some, move some.
Put us in the same room, it gon' go down. Hit a nigga with that boom, he gon' go down.
Shoot some, move some, shoot some, move some.
Put us in the same room, it gon' go down. Hit a nigga with that boom, he gon' go down.
Every day my niggas dying, they don't know the truth. How the hell you close to God, we don't know it's you. Yo, how the hell you supposed to survive, we don't know the shoot. He should've died, you let him slide, cause he look just like you. I tried to tell him all skin ain't kin. Everybody ain't your partner, everybody ain't your friend. How the hell they supposed to help when they the ones that put you in? They don't struggle how we struggle, they can't get it how we live. Can't be scared to die when we already dead. Either way, your life is stake no matter how you play. My higher self said we should choose remain godly. My lower want these motherfucking bodies. Infiltrate they circles like a motherfucking Audi. Take them to the south and put them down like OG Bobby. They don't want equality in this club, they want these problems. Killers right beside me, stand full of Chickamaugas. Shoot some, move some, shoot some, move some.
Put us in the same room, it gon' go down. Hit a nigga with that boom, he gon' go down.
Shoot some, move some, shoot some, move some.
Put us in the same room, it gon' go